All right, everyone. The bar is now open. Welcome. You guys know who I am. This is Ara Basil.
What's going on, brewheads? Harry, I really like that music. I feel like I was at Walmart for a second there. It's great.
And that's good to know. All right.
Let's introduce our guest for tonight.
All right. It's my pleasure to introduce you guys to our special guest tonight, candidate for Glendale School Board Council, right? And district, or what's the code I'm looking for?
Candidate for Glendale Unified School Board, Trustee Area A.
There we go.
Trustee Area.
Center, North Glendale, and Montrose.
Jordan Henry is in the house.
There we go. Welcome, Jordan.
Thanks. Yep. Great to be here. Nice
Great to have you, but I'm having an issue with your mic.
Oh,
Jordan.
yeah?
Yeah.
Test.
Try it again.
Test. Can you hear me?
No, I
I
can't
can't
hear.
hear much in my.
No. Your mic
headphones.
is not working for some reason, even though it's plugged in. Could be a bad wire. Try it now.
Test.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
We knew we can fix that in a
Fix the
second.
connection.
Yeah, see, that's what happens when you get cables from China.
So I am Jordan Henry, candidate for Glendale Unified School Board, Trustee Area A.
Trustee Area A.
That's right.
Which covers which part of Glendale, or all of Glendale, pretty much?
No, so it's North Glendale, so that's the annex in La Crescenta from Lowell to Pennsylvania, and then that extends all the way over to La Cañada, and then into the Sagebrush neighborhood in La Cañada.
And then the Montrose, Spar Heights, Montecito area.
Correct.
Yeah.
Basil is more well-versed than I am in the Glendale. Do I even call them boroughs? What do I call them? The Glendale.
The neighborhoods. We actually have neighboods.
Yeah, the neighborhoods.
You know, we have
Okay, don't get
Rossmoyne,
angry.
Woodland
Why
Hills,
are you
Chevy
getting mad at me?
Chase, Spar Heights, Montecito, Montrose, Polincollo, I think it's down by Pacific, Brockmount.
Palinconey, you mean?
Pelinconi, there we go.
Yeah.
And then I don't spend too much time down there, so
I used to live down there.
and a couple other neighborhoods. But most people don't realize Glendale's such a small city that we have neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And this, and this is actually one of the things that dictator Dan is trying to change in this city. I want to talk about the city council real quick, but he wants to do districts, which is the stupidest thing with a city this small. Okay, so I'm not even going to get into that. Let's talk about Jordan. Let's talk about the school board.
We'll get into everything slowly here. But first thing I want to do is I want to get a little bit of a background on Jordan himself, because I'm sure viewers that we have, some of them won't know, haven't seen you before, or haven't your interest, or were you always ambitious to get into this type of I would say politics, but it actually is politics. So
Yeah, this is politics. Yeah.
So.
It's technically a non-partisan seat, but unfortunately, that's a facade,
right.
that goes on in these local elections. I'm fairly new to Glendale. I moved here at the very end of 2020. Mm-hmm. Got a rental at first. Had to move out of LA.
Okay.
Where I had lived for 10 years prior to that. Lived in Highland Park, but during...
So you're originally from LA?
No, I'm originally from Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Like very small towns in Indiana.
Wolverines.
Yeah, exactly. And I studied
Go
music.
blue.
I studied music there. Music theory, music philosophy, if you could believe that.
I guess we can have some conversations.
Yeah. And then, Michigan's a pretty academic institution.
Yeah.
So I got exposed to a lot of pretty particular material that set me up for what I'm doing now, believe it or not. The first time you guys know the term like critical theory, critical race theory, right?
Yes.
The first time I ever read critical theory was in music school in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
I was 19. I was studying tuba performance, and they had us read one of the first critical theorists, the founder of critical theory, one of them. And he was a music theorist and a composer, and he hated jazz.
Yeah.
Actually, he hated all American popular music. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "What is this? Why would anybody hate on American pop music?" Well, it turned out to be a Marxist, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what this is now." And I was 19, and I immediately pushed back. I was like, "This makes no sense. Like this American music is all about being popular.
Right.
Populism through music. I mean,
true.
Well, I heard something. I heard something about that though. I heard that trumpets and all the basically the what do they call them? The horn instruments.
Yeah, the horns.
They're actually designed to give minorities emphysema and asthma. So there is some truth to this critical race theory in music.
Where'd you read this?
this is before critical race theory. This is where critical race theory came from.
Racist musical instruments. I've heard it all.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was watching a little clip yesterday that was they were attributing all kinds of stuff to racism. I mean, I can't remember what it was, but I mean, it was like, going to the gym.
Oh yeah, white privilege
is a sign of white privilege.
That's right. It's white privilege.
Fit.
Yeah. Being fit and healthy is a sign of white privilege.
Right. I mean, nowadays you can pretty much tie, racism and all that stuff to anything you'd like to tie it to, as long as you're one of those left-wing loons. Anyway, go ahead, Jordan. We cut you off. So.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah.
All right. So you were
kind of boring, actually.
No, but I mean, it's just so we get a little bit of we get a little bit of knowledge of what prompted you to get into all this.
Yeah. So long story short, I got a master's in music. My wife ended up getting a job out here in LA. She plays for the LA Philharmonic.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Second
Nice.
flute, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like basically being in the NBA.
Yes,
what
it
she
is.
does, and like on a great team. So she's very talented, and we moved out here to support her career. I wanted to see that flourish, and she's been there since 2012.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to the LA Philharmonic a lot, and Esa-Tika Salonen was the conductor back then. And I think that was his name.
Esa-Pekka.
Esa-Pekka.
Salonen, though. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
great.
turned him into a hockey player. I'm sorry. No, playing right wing for the Winnipeg Jets. No. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's
Kudos.
exceptional, man.
He's awesome.
He is so technically refined and
look, to the untrained
he was
eye.
a great music.
Oh,
director.
don't even start with the untrained.
To the untrained eye, this is all he was doing. It's like, okay, I get him like 12, 13. I'm like, I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. But you realize he's setting the cadence, he's setting the tempo, he's calling different groups of instruments and all that stuff. So it's very, it's actually interesting. He's the general of the orchestra.
Yeah, he's a composer too, and he writes the hardest music. Anybody who plays his music is just like, oh my god, I have to practice.
The guy's a sadomasochist.
Yeah.
He misses calling us a dentist.
Yeah, and I was writing music for TV,
and
film.
you're an anti-dentite.
You're raving anti-dentite. Next thing they say they should have their own schools.
They do have their own schools.
All right, we got a Seinfeld reference out of the way for the night.
I didn't know that one.
Every show, we have to get at least one Seinfeld. So you moved out here, and then obviously you put your kids in school out here, and then that's when you started seeing what's going on, right?
Yeah, actually, I went back to school for landscape architecture.
Oh,
Cal Poly Pomona. So I'm nearly a licensed landscape architect.
Okay.
I've got one test left, and I actually technically can't say I'm a landscape architect, even though that's my job title right now. Regardless, so I went back to school for that, Cal Poly Pomona, and they had us read educational theory.
Sure.
I have no idea why we had to read educational pedagogy.
Makes no sense. Yeah, makes no sense. Yeah.
And I'm reading this book, and it's by this Brazilian Marxist, and it quotes Marx, Mao, Castro, Guevara, Hegel, if you're at all interested in philosophy.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe what I was reading. It was encouraging people to become radicalized, students. It was saying the relationship between the teacher and the student is inherently oppressive. And the students should be leading the classroom just as much as the teachers, if not more, because the students are the ones who know best.
Students should teach teachers. I think that was an episode of Super Friends when Bizarro took over the Earth and became
Don't date
Superman.
yourself, Harry.
Bizarro World. Remember Bizarro?
Don't date yourself with Super Friends, Harry. That cartoon was out in the 70s.
I've never seen it.
Damn it. I was watching.
Am I supposed to be hearing
Meanwhile,
you guys?
at the League of Justice.
Reruns.
Am I supposed to be hearing you guys in the mic here?
You don't
in
hear?
the
Yes.
cans? No, I can't hear you.
You're kidding.
No.
What the heck?
Yeah.
What's going on with this? Try now? Try now?
No,
Can
I got
you-
nothing.
You got nothing?
No.
You got nothing? You got nothing?
Oh, now it's a little better. Now it's
You got a little bit now?
sort of.
There we go.
A little bit.
Okay, you're on channel 2, so let me give you a little more. How about now?
Oh, that's better. That's getting there.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay, there you go.
All right, guys, stop making it sexual. All right.
I do enjoy. Your voice sounds so good over that mic.
Well,
Yeah, so I read that book and I realized it's by a guy named Paulo Freire.
Yeah.
Brazilian Marxist.
Fieri, this is not related.
Freire.
Not-
That's how he actually
Yeah,
pronounced
no
it.
relation to Guy, right?
No, Guy Fieri. That guy's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
He gets such a bad rap, but like he's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, I think
he's like a very down to earth
He's
guy.
a cool guy. He's got a nice hamburger restaurant in Vegas.
Yeah, not Fieri, Freire. And that book is Pedagogy of the Oppressed, is the most cited book in academic education.
I've
in
never read
existence.
any of these. I'm proud to say I've never read.
Yeah,
any
it's
of
good
these
that you
books.
haven't.
I don't even know they existed. This is the sad reality of this world right now.
Yeah, this is just what's overtaken higher education in education.
I mean, in the 90s, you had professors that were out there, you know, the Vietnam War protesting relics, you know, that were on their way out. And we thought like, okay, once these fossils die, you know, everything will go back to normal. Apparently not, because they radicalized an entire
But here's the
generation.
thing,
of
I
they were
teachers.
very effective.
I
yeah.
brought this up before on prior podcasts. You know, you've heard me say this before. But, you know, all these millennials and then the Gen Zs that we have nowadays.
They're bored.
Okay. But who raised them? Gen X raised them.
Yeah.
So I think the sole responsibility falls on the parents that raise these damn kids.
No, not true. The Gen Xers raised the millennials. This is where the problem happened.
No, Gen X was raised. It kind of like
It
went
overlaps.
overlapped
It
into
overlaps.
both. Yeah.
So the Gen Xers, our generation, okay, I would call us the last true
He's
generation.
probably more of a millennial.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
we're
the-
the Gen Xers.
So
You and I.
the Gen X generation is probably the last true great generation in this country because we were taught to be self-reliant. We
Right.
were taught respect. We were reared, which is the last generation to ever get reared. Maybe in the Midwest you got reared as a millennial.
Yeah.
But in California they stopped it. They started giving kids participation trophies. Okay, so that was a huge red flag right there. Everybody's a winner. No, you're not.
Sure.
Okay, sorry. Life's not fair. Suck it up. You know, and I deal with it now. My son's little league team. You know, win or lose, they get a trophy. I mean, come on.
I mean, I'm actually going
Right.
to take it even a step further.
Yeah.
I blame the Gen Xers to the point where I think this whole encouragement, and I'm sorry for the female viewers right now, sorry about this, but the whole encouragement of the mother also working out of the home, and so the kids kind of like we were latchkey kids.
Yeah.
You know, we raised ourselves. And I know we're not the only, siblings or kids on the block that did that. So if you don't have either mom or dad in the house raising you, you know, the TV raises you.
But television was wholesome back then.
It was, but
For the most part, I mean.
yeah,
the most part.
but there was still some stuff on there that we.
When I was
shouldn't
raised,
really
it
see.
wasn't.
No, in the
but
90s and
when you got-
2000s,
yeah,
no,
when-
forget it.
No, by your generation, it was already
Yeah,
over
MTV
hill.
on the rise
Yeah,
became
exactly. But
a
MTV
real-
happened when we were kids.
But
It
MTV
started-
actually showed music videos
They just
when
showed
we were
music
kids.
videos when we. That's what I was getting to that point.
That whole
But-
real world
Right.
phenomenon totally ruined the
and up.
generation.
1990 and up, it started.
Yeah.
Real world, and then the 16-year-old pregnant girl or whatever.
Yeah,
that
16 and pregnant
that
and all
show
this
and all
stuff.
that's when the millennials were in their teens and early 20s, and that's when they started seeing all that stuff. But I'm saying, my point is, I think we need to take a little bit of responsibility. When I say we, I don't have any kids, not me, but I mean people like in
Well,
our
no,
generation.
this is where I was going with my point.
Yeah.
Generation X had a lot of us had strict upbringings. When we became parents, we vowed not to do it to our children. So we had it rough. We didn't want to give our kids a rough life. Now, you pamper kids, they grow up to be pampered adults. And these pampered adults don't have a clue how to work in society. Then they look for answers. And then they go to their professors. Then they go to this. They're very subjective, what's the word I'm looking for? Suggestive, okay? And very
Okay.
impressionable, okay? And college is preyed on these kids.
No, by the time they got to college, and there was no other true parental supervision at
Nothing.
that point. The professors and the teachers, they became their parents.
I agree.
And then at that point, they can mold them into anything they want.
Yeah, and I experienced that firsthand. I
Yeah,
went,
okay,
I
go
went
ahead.
through that process.
Go ahead.
You know, because I grew up in like a very traditional family. I grew up LDS actually in the Mormon church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And those roots are still with me. They've influenced my life for sure. And even in college, that was always with me too, even though I left the church while in college.
Right.
But regardless, it's a very true phenomenon where
Right.
students then start to self-identify on a personal level
Yeah.
with the people around them. They're college professors, and
Right.
they tend to idealize these people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Idolize, excuse me.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I said I knew what you meant.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened a lot, you know, and I even experienced it with my professors. And in a music situation, it's very one-on-one with professors.
Right.
I would have like, you know, hours a week one-on-one with
right.
a professor, and you'd start to
Yeah, you
adopt their
exactly. You're going to
ideology.
absorb
Yeah.
whatever they're putting out at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
If-
And when you're surrounded by it, you know, in a very liberal area or a very left area, then it becomes just the air that you breathe.
Exactly.
You don't even notice it anymore.
That's one thing I don't understand about some of those more rural areas. I don't understand how they've become. I mean, I'm talking. Well, when you get to college, that's a different level, thing. But when you were growing up in Indiana, it wasn't left or liberal, was it? I mean, I it's hard for me to imagine.
90s. It's a Bible Belt.
The Bible Belt is the South. He wasn't in the South.
And he was in southern Indiana. He grew
That's
up by
not
the
the
Kentucky
South.
border.
That's the Midwest.
the
It's
Bible
pretty
Belt.
southern. It's pretty southern.
That's the Bible Belt.
I grew up with a
Brother,
southern accent. Everybody
the Bible
knew.
Belt is Alabama. It's
Kentucky
Tennessee,
too.
Yeah.
It's
well,
Kentucky too.
North, yeah, you're right.
But
you're in the
Indianapolis still has dry counties to this day.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so all right, so you didn't.
Indiana does.
Yeah, Indiana.
So it wasn't until you got to college that this phenomenon started to take hold.
Yeah, well, I mean, I went to a boarding high school called
okay.
Interlochen. It's in northern Michigan. So I did finish my last 2 years in a private boarding school. It's actually where Jeffrey Epstein went to school.
Oh,
That's where
claim to fame, right
That's
there.
where he graduated. He had a cabin on the campus that he had donated, and he was a big donor. So I've been aware of Epstein since high school. I knew his name because it was like on a placard at our high school. But all that sort of happened there in high school, and then that fed me into.
But then again,
the collegiate world.
Northern Michigan is nowhere near the Bible Belt. So
Correct.
No.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
now you're more
But it's
into
in,
an
like,
urban area.
Northern Michigan
it
is almost Canada, brother.
Yeah. And that was the tiniest town I had ever
Yeah.
lived in. That
So-
little town was like 400 people.
Yeah. Ann Arbor?
No, the high school. In the high school.
Oh, the
that
high school.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that puts out
Ann
a lot
Arbor's
of like
pretty ethnic.
Ann Arbor's a big. I mean, that was the largest city I had lived in at that
Yeah.
point, and it's actually pretty similar size to Glendale.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty
very
big.
similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger.
And Dearborn has a huge
it's all
Arab
Middle
population.
Eastern.
Yeah,
Dearborn
all
is
Palestinians and Arabs.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
Arabs and Lebanese, Palestinian,
Yeah.
all kinds of Arabs.
Yeah.
And a mixture too, Christian and
Rashid
Muslim.
Tlaib. There you go. Her claim to fame.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started on that woman.
Yeah. So, I think that phenomenon is real in colleges and in schools, and teachers really need to take account of that and become, unbiased mediators in that realm, so they can just basically, give students enough information to make their own minds up.
Right.
But that's not the case.
Right.
And when I read that critical pedagogy in my master's, then I realized, they're actually throwing neutrality out the window. They explicitly state that. They're saying education must be a politically leftist point of view. It has to be. And neutrality never existed. There is no objectivity.
I guess we got out right on time.
Oh,
Because-
the late 80s, early
Yeah.
90s,
Yeah.
you still had...
No, it was objectivity, bro. There was.
Oh, dude, there was...
Well, when I went to school, it was
Critical
I
thinking
didn't
was
have-
still allowed back then. Now
that's
you
what I'm
can.
saying. Yeah.
But it started, Harry. I had liberal professors. These guys would not listen to critical theory. If I questioned something,
Critical thinking?
Critical thinking. They would literally dismiss you and go on with the lecture. And I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this?
No, I never-
This is an
I
area of
never
higher
ran into
learning.
that.
Fuck off. I don't believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I'm raising my children that way.
What's confusing is they call critical theory critical thinking now.
Yeah,
They-
exactly.
they
Which is
planted
the exact
that.
They're
opposite. It's a flip.
conflating
Yeah.
it to villainize critical thinking. They do not want free thinkers. They want a sheep. They want a part of the herd. They want a part of the collective. For you Star Wars fans, they want a part of the Borg. Okay.
Star Trek. That's
Star Trek. Sorry, Star Trek.
Too many, bro. How many beers have you had?
I just had one so far.
Yeah, resistance is futile.
I've
made that mistake.
I've never heard you misquote a Star Wars reference.
Well, I never quote Star Trek. That's why.
That's what I was getting to. I've never even heard you say anything about Star Trek.
But the Borg is the perfect.
It's a perfect example.
It is the perfect example.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. I don't even know what it is because I don't watch Star Trek.
Oh, you've never seen the Borg?
I don't watch Star
They're
Trek.
like half. They're cyborgs,
right?
But they're all part of this collective mind that's tapped into this central network.
Yeah.
Okay, got
it's
it.
It's a hive mind network.
Yeah,
gotcha.
but within their like half cyborg, half human body, which is no longer human.
Yeah,
right.
And it's a parasite. Literally.
Right.
That's literally what it is on the Federation in Star Trek.
That's right. It was introduced in The Next Generation.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
but
such
it is
a
I
Trekkie.
think, and the first time
I love TNG. I can't stand the original, but I love TNG.
yeah, it's good.
Why
It's good.
don't you like the original?
No, because I like Jean-Luc Picard. Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, he's great.
Make it so.
That sounds more like Sean Connery to
No,
me.
Sean Connery talks like this, dear.
That's pretty good.
Oh, it sucks being dead.
Oh yeah, he did that.
Well, man was like in his 90s.
I'll drink for him.
Yeah, well, that's for Sean.
One of the OG Bonds. The OG Bond and one of the best
Yeah.
Bonds.
Yeah, and Indy's dad, don't forget.
Junior.
We do a lot of movie references. Like,
No, it's great. When I was getting my master's and we read that book, that critical pedagogy book,
Right.
I was like, "Have you guys ever heard of the Borg?" In class, I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"This is the Borg."
that's
You're-
insane.
you're-
You just reference the same thing. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's very obvious.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
It is the collective mind, and
You know what it reminds me of? Well, you're too young to know this. Remember the first Apple Macintosh commercial?
Yeah, the guy with the sledgehammer, the girl with the sledgehammer throwing it
Yes,
against.
and then you'll see a bunch of the
Be different, be Apple.
Yeah, be up, and then they're all standing like walking in succession in like.
And the irony of it is
That was the first Apple
fanatics
Macintosh.
became fucking lemmings.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs could
They
not do
actually
wrong.
became that. Yes.
What a piece of junk! He wants me to pay $800. Here's my money. I love this thing. Oh my god, it's fantastic. Freaking
That was
looks like a
during the-
lampshade.
You know,
Here we are. I mean, I've got one. You've got
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
that was during the 49ers Bengals Super Bowl, bro. That's how much I
Yeah,
remember.
1983.
Oh, wow.
That's how much I remember. It was the first commercial. Like, it was the most memorable commercial from that Super
No,
Bowl.
83 or 84?
84. 83 was the
84.
Raiders.
That's right. It was the Macintosh release,
Yeah.
84.
83
83 was your Raiders.
That was my Raiders, yeah.
Definitely before my time. I was born in '85, so
Oh,
you know.
Well, it was during your time, man. It's just that you weren't aware of it.
85 was a great year. Saw Back to the Future 4 times in the theater. Man, that was a great movie.
Yeah, I was born. That was a great year.
But it's so true, dude. It's like the government has already implemented their programming stage, and it started in television. Television went from subliminal programming to liminal programming. Now it's at superliminal programming. They're basically
Right.
not even hiding it anymore.
Yeah, it's not even liminal, right?
It's not even liminal anymore. It's
Right,
overt.
it's out in the open. Yeah,
It's overt.
Yeah.
And it started with reality programming. Okay, you don't care about your life. You don't care about your bills. You care about what Honey Boo Boo's doing and
Right,
Kim
yeah,
Kardashian's doing.
Right.
Okay, that's what you're doing. When you have Obama saying, "Well, I want to look and see what Honey Boo Boo's doing tonight," like, really, you're giving credence to a freaking television show? You're the president of the United States. Like, I don't care. Like, what's going on? So they distract people. Then social media comes into the spotlight. Now, social media
right.
was designed to bring people together. It has done the entire exact opposite. It has torn people apart. There is no more human-to-human interaction anymore. We're using a computer or a tablet as a conduit, and we're pissing each other off. It's by design. These algorithms do not want to bring like-minded people together. Look at the Twitter algorithms, okay, before Elon Musk bought it. Look at Instagram right now, okay? My Instagram feed is full of liberals talking about Trump. And it's designed to antagonate me. I'm pretty sure liberals, I had a talk with Maz Jobrani about this. His Twitter feed was all conservative pundits. And they're like, what's
Interesting.
going on? they look at your political bias, they look at your algorithms, and they look and see what you're posting. Then they want to antagonize you. They want to irritate you so you can go full steam ahead and then put you in Facebook jail for fucking 2 weeks.
And this is on your Instagram feed?
It's on every social media.
It's weird because mine is the exact opposite.
Yeah, mine isn't like that.
And I'm thinking that they're trying to keep us in an echo chamber.
I'll show you guys.
Like, so
maybe they selected you.
No. Twitter still does it because Elon did not change the.
Twitter is different because
Twitter gives me more of a
Twitter will
different viewpoints than.
Well, Instagram can't do that because you're following people.
Well, no. It says because you followed this person, they show another person.
Right, suggestions for you. The first one, crooked shifty shift. I don't even follow this pencil.
But I see this on X though more than Instagram. I see
this. Robbie Reiner.
Hold on,
really?
Okay, that one. Okay,
but that means you looked at Rob Reiner's feed once.
Oh, looked at him. I shit on him on every freaking comment.
That's why you got it.
There you go.
Luke Skywalker, the biggest soy boy beta male out there.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Because you engaged, you got it.
Okay,
that's why.
So I see Bette Midler. I don't engage with Bette Midler. I don't even want to look at Bette Midler for risk of going blind.
You went to Rob Reiner's page.
Oh, I go on Rob Reiner's page all the time.
So Bette Midler is best buds with Rob Reiner.
Oh, they are?
Well, they're very close. They're both liberal.
Jamie Harris.
I have no idea.
Here you go. George Takei. Sulu. Oh my.
It's Takei.
Whatever the hell it is.
It's George.
Can I say something about Facebook?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When I went to Michigan,
that's all right.
All right. Got it. I went to Michigan. My freshman year was 2004. Facebook had started in 2003.
Yeah,
at Harvard.
I believe so. Yeah.
When we went in for our freshman orientation, they all sat us down in a huge computer lab. They called it the fishbowl because it was surrounded in glass at Michigan. And they had everybody registered for Facebook.
Oh, God.
Everybody. But we were like, I was 18, 19.
Right.
I was
it started at the schools. It started at university.
But back then,
that was taxpayer funded.
That's right.
That was institutionalized in the orientation.
Facebook was meant to be students only as far as like student to student communication.
And I don't know if it was meant to be that.
No, it was funded by the CIA.
No. But I don't know.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It was funded by the CIA and the FBI.
I think it was the
presented as that. Okay, it was presented as that in the beginning.
Entry was in through the universities, like all of these things that we're talking about. Everything started in the universities and then spreads out with the kids who become dependent on it, and they think that that's the only way that the society has always functioned because it's so easy to not understand history and our role in it. And then we go out in the world and then we push that onto society in a quote unquote organic way, but really it was a manipulation, engineering.
Full on manipulation.
Jordan, your generation was the first digital generation.
Yeah, I was very digitalized.
We are an analog and to a digital generation.
We were transitioned from analog
to
digital.
So that's why we can still function if technology goes down. We could revert back to the 70s when we didn't have shit.
What I was saying is I do miss Tom, though, from MySpace.
Oh, God.
He never put us in jail, bro. We could just say whatever we wanted to. He was such a nice guy. We took him for granted, dude. That's all I'm saying. Tom was great.
So back to so in college you realized everybody's going, I'm not even going to say liberal. They're going communist. Marxist.
I was super left. I was extremely left
but you
in
had
college.
To be.
No, it's not that I had. No. I had friends who were conservatives.
Really?
And I openly mocked them.
Why did you go liberal? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, because you said you grew up in a LDS home. And
but I
you were just rebelling against.
I rebelled, right?
Yeah.
And so then I went to school and I just adopted everything.
Yeah.
Not everything,
Again, back to my point about being young and impressionable.
Yeah, right. I thought I was being smart because I rejected some of it, but really I was adopting like the most fundamental aspects of it.
But it's okay. You got older now and you got conservative. Winston Churchill's best quote.
Oh yeah, we all know it.
If you're young, and conservative.
No, if you're young.
No. If you're young and conservative, you don't have a soul. If you're old and liberal, you don't have a brain.
Yeah.
And it's very true because the older you get, the wiser you should become about how life works.
Right.
And there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely happened to me. Especially after I had kids,
Okay, so
that changes people.
So I've got two boys.
So when did I shouldn't say red pill, but when did the shift begin?
When he had kids.
Oh, it was in college, 2017, when I read that book.
Okay,
that really woke me up, and that kind of started my path towards listening to people who criticized
Right.
Marxism, essentially.
Okay.
And I went, for years reading Marx, reading everything that had to do with critical pedagogy that I could find.
Right.
Because I was just really curious, like, how did this get into the institutions?
Yeah.
To the point that like nobody's questioning it, and it's becoming the dogma. Mm-hmm. And that led me to people like who are critical of it. There are a lot of educational theorists who reject all this stuff,
right.
and so that opened my perspective up to them. I listened to them more. I realized that I was wrong about all this other stuff. COVID hit.
Yeah.
I had a kid during COVID, my first son.
Yeah.
I had 2 kids during COVID.
Wow. Well, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, COVID was the worst thing to happen to children, at ages 3 to 5.
Yeah, if you already had children at
in
that
school,
point,
yeah.
It
oh,
was
it's horrible.
bad because you are you're right there at the beginning of your academic journey. And my son went from preschool, shut down, TK, remote learning, and then into kindergarten, lost like a deer in the headlights. He's like, what the fuck is this? Because of this.
Yeah.
You can't have a 4-year-old, 5-year-old sit in front of a laptop for 8 hours.
No,
It
whoever
doesn't
thought
work.
of that, whoever thought that would work was
Beyond lunacy.
They didn't think that would work because anybody with half a brain
Exactly.
would know it wouldn't. Yeah.
But you're here now,
Yeah.
and let's talk about the race.
Yeah, so then during COVID, the GUSD, so when I moved to Glendale, like a month after I moved to Glendale, GUSD had adopted this thing called Learning for Justice.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard about this?
No.
It's the Southern Poverty Law Center's educational offshoot.
That's all you got to say. Southern Poverty,
Seriously.
So they have completely adopted this thing called Learning for Justice, which is based on anti-bias pedagogy. Mm-hmm. And that's all critical pedagogy.
Yes.
It's all Marxist-fueled
Of course.
teaching, right? And so I realized that. I read their board reports because I was looking into the schools. I was going to buy a place here, and I ended up buying a place here for the schools.
Yeah.
It's got a great reputation. Yep. But the more I learned about it, the more I realized, wow, this district has really gone off the deep end.
Correct.
By serving the teachers' unions who are pushing all of this.
Of course.
All of this stuff gets pushed by the unions.
Right.
Yeah.
They are the single biggest threat in this country right now. The teachers' union, I'm sorry.
Right.
Are very, very good people with common sense, very good values.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's very similar to us. Even if they don't vote like me, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
As long as they're not, too much on the fringe end of the left, that's okay. As long as they're moderate, and they're not trying to push crazy ideology.
Look,
Even if it's a straight up communist teaching.
Oh no, then I'd have a problem.
who understands that their role in the American public education system is to not insert their own viewpoint.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I see what
I don't
you're
think a communist can do that.
No,
but,
it's impossible.
Yeah, no,
but
seriously.
If
It's impossible.
one did,
Right.
I would respect that.
Right.
Sure. I just want to make that really clear.
Jordan, who are you running against? Who's holding your seat now?
Oh, okay. So Jennifer Freeman, who's the president of the board.
God, that smug look on her face at board meetings.
Yeah,
Jeez.
she's very disrespectful to parents.
She's condescending.
Yeah, she's insulting. Yeah. She's called parents who have literally said nothing bad about any group of people homophobic or hateful or bigoted, blah, blah, blah.
Liberal playbook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Smear and slander.
And it just doesn't work anymore at
of
all.
course not.
Right. But she does that. She thinks that that's an effective way to communicate,
Right.
And it pisses people off. It's pissed me off.
Of
It's
course.
made me extremely angry, and I've reacted to it.
I-
Every parent
course.
has reacted to
Of
that.
course.
Sure.
But I believe that she's, using her power in that position as a way to provoke us.
Yeah.
And I think they actually do want the conflict, and so they're getting the message from the union, from the local and state unions, to hold firm and say these things in order to get a reaction out of us, the parents, so we look bad. And that's smart.
Yeah.
You know?
Gestapo Gavin is pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here. I mean, Sacramento's giving
The
them the
people
marching
who are
orders.
funding him are pulling the
Of
strings.
course.
And yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Yeah. So she's not running, thank God.
Okay, good.
So that's an open seat right there.
She got a vice president position at Burbank High, and I think she should have resigned immediately upon accepting that, because there's a direct conflict of interest.
Correct.
We compete for students. I've been talking to people who've been following athletics in the local schools for a long time, and even within our district, we're competing for students.
Correct.
Like CV, the high school that is in my area. CV High School, Crescenta Valley.
Right.
They bring a lot of talent from Hoover, from Glendale High School.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. And then, across districts, we're competing for Burbank students and vice versa. Yeah. So she should have resigned immediately. Obviously, she didn't. She feels, like she can act with impunity. They all do. So so she's not running.
So who's running against you?
A man named Telly C.
Let's talk about that, because I heard something on Instagram that the teachers union gifted him $100,000 for his campaign. Is this true?
The teachers union said they would give $100,000 to both he and Netta, who's the other candidate.
Who's running against Anita.
Anita, in District E. So that's southwest Glendale.
I'm sorry. Who's Netta?
Anita Kopekian?
No, I know Anita. Anita. Who's Netta?
Oh, Netta. What's her last name? I always forget her last name.
What is she? What's her ethnicity?
She's Iranian.
Okay.
I want to say.
There we go. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Or is this here?
So the CTA, the state union has given $100,000 to this local election. We don't know if it's going to be a 50-50 split between them or whatever. So
Neda Farid.
Okay. Neda Farid.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's run before. She lost.
I remember her name.
Yeah, and she lost to help me out, Nahabidian.
Nairi
Nahabidian.
Yeah. Why? Because Armenians voted for Nairi because she's Armenian and a woman. And not bit us in the ass. Armenian voters, if you are watching this, vote with your heart. I mean, vote with your brain, not with your heart.
Vote with your brain.
Don't vote based on a name.
Exactly.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, the same with the city council.
So this is the way the teachers' unions work. They're hyper politicized action committees that will fund these local elections to get their political way, and they do not represent the normal people. They don't represent the kids. They don't represent the parents. They don't even represent the school board or the administration. They represent themselves as a political entity that has a very radicalized point of view.
And I feel like each person on there, they have, they put their own political aspirations before anything, and they know how to play it up as far as which side to be on every issue, which side will get them ahead to the next position, to the next status, to get up, climb the ladder, so to speak. And
they learned the script.
Exactly.
Like Nairi, I know for a fact that Nairi doesn't agree with everything.
That's what I was getting to.
I know for a fact.
I feel like even if they don't personally agree with what the agenda is, they just play along to get along.
This is my problem with politics.
It's extremely dangerous to
do,
especially when you have kids involved and you're dealing with destabilizing one's fundamental identity as a boy or a girl. Oh my God. Okay, we got to talk.
This is my problem with politics, and this is all around the country, even around the world. You get in, with campaign promises. Your constituents expect you to deliver on those promises. Once you get in, you become part of the cog of a major freaking wheel. You can't get out because the life's too good, the money's great, and now you're sitting there and you're stuck. And now you're expecting the establishment to keep reelecting you and rigging elections to get you into power. The populace, if this was legitimate elections, and I'm sorry, I'm going to call it like I see it. If these were legitimate elections, these people would not be reelected, especially given the hatred and the frustration and stuff of the performance of the council, of the school board, by the parents of Glendale. A lot of pissed off people. And it's not just Armenian parents.
No, it's not.
They're Mexican parents. They're Latinos in general. They're Asian parents. These are conservative families. Indian parents. They are
white parents.
livid.
I mean, all
they're livid. Everybody. They're livid.
Or they're in denial. So I have a lot of experience now. After being vocal in public.
Sure.
Meeting a lot of people who disagree with me, obviously, and they're good people.
Right.
Okay. Most of them, I would say. some are extremely hostile, and they're really not. And I've experienced that too. But then also going out and knocking on doors. I've knocked on thousands of doors already.
Right.
I meet a lot of people, a lot of parents who are oblivious to everything.
They don't even know what's happening in their own communities
or
school.
They have a general idea, but they think that for some reason they still think that it's not going to affect them personally, or it's not real, or it's not as bad as we obviously have shown evidence that it is. And I've talked to elementary school parents. Like my elementary school where I live is Valley View Elementary.
Okay.
Up on Santa Carlotta in La Crescenta. And they had an issue there where 2 years ago on their Catalina annual field trip, they had 2 boys sleeping in the girls' cabins. These are 2 boys in the 6th grade, so I guess they're 11, maybe 12.
Was there supervision there as far as adults?
No one knows. First of all,
how's that even possible?
So these boys are trans.
Okay. So they're identifying as girls.
The government views them as girls.
Gotcha.
Their parents view them as girls, but they allowed these 2 boys to sleep in this girl's cabin, and the district, the principal there at Valley View, said we're not going to tell parents that, and she confirmed with the district, with Kelly King, the assistant superintendent.
Since you brought that up, when I first saw you, you were arguing against, I think, this issue. Yes, you were. It was this issue, but it was on Alex Jones's podcast. He actually played a clip from you, and
to be clear, I was not.
You were not on Alex Jones, but
show.
He played a video clip of you talking. I think you were speaking at the board meeting.
Yeah, so that was last April.
Okay,
yeah, I went and spoke at the board meeting,
yes.
and it wasn't about this specific issue,
but it was
about the phenomenon that we're experiencing.
There we go. Okay,
but with this issue at Valley View, where they weren't telling parents that boys were sleeping with girls on a field trip. And we have email confirmation that
when I said this issue, I meant in the broad sense. In the broad sense.
That's a confirmation of how the policy is enacted, is applied, and is real.
Wasn't that Kelly King?
Yes, you just mentioned that's what sparked my memory when he said Kelly King. That's what sparked my memory.
Yeah, so when I talk to parents, even parents who have kids at Valley View who agree with me entirely, they still are apologetic or something for the principal for doing that. Okay. Saying like, oh, she's blameless. She's just doing what she has to do. I'm like, okay, but or she's not going to do that again. I'm like, okay, she will. But she definitely will do that again.
Of course she will.
And your children will be involved in some way, and I'm sure they currently are. How would you know?
You would never know.
You would never know.
You would never know.
So I have to explain that to parents a lot who are choosing to be in denial. I think that's the case, or it's like a defense mechanism. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The problem with that is if the parents don't take action or they don't get involved, then no type of change or anything could be enacted.
Correct.
So what do you do at that point? I mean, what can you do if you can't be a one-man army out there?
I think parents are really scared, They think that the political establishment, as it is right now in California or locally here in Glendale, is very unforgiving, and they're right. And they're right that they will get ostracized socially. Okay. I've experienced that many times, but I don't have kids in the district yet. Okay. They're too young to enroll.
Too young, yeah.
I had kids in the district. I pulled them out. My son was at Vertigo Woodlands. Pulled him out. Sorry. I'm done. Went to private school, and, I feel sad, and I support my friends who have kids in Glendale Unified.
Right.
And I try however I can to help them. But at the end of the day, it sucks. You're right. Once you have kids in it's called skin in the game. Arno from Wise Nuts, he's heavily invested in this cause because his children go to R.D. White.
Yeah. Same with Anita.
And Anita, and a lot of others. And Narnia does. I lost my train of thought. But
having skin in the game.
Yeah, but having skin in the game. So you have these parents who are fighting, and again,
you're talking about Narnia from Bad Moms.
Yeah, Narnia homeschools, but she's been on the front lines. She's been on the front lines since day one. She's been a soldier for this as well. For everything. So we're giving ancillary support. We're giving.
Yeah.
Okay, it is not just 5 people on a council. Okay, you're fighting massive governments. You're fighting massive money. What's the strategy here, Jordan?
Yeah, we have to get people off of Instagram and out knocking on doors and making calls.
Okay.
Literally, that's what needs to happen. So if you're watching this and you pay attention at all to this issue, you need to volunteer your time, your money, whatever it is that you can do. If you can get out and knock on 10 doors,
your energy,
2 hours of your time will make a huge difference. And if we can do that, in the aggregate, we'll win.
Yeah.
I have 10,000 doors that I have to knock on.
Yeah.
By March, basically by the end of January, because the mail-in ballots drop.
Oh, true. Right.
The first week of February.
Right. Yeah.
So the election's in March, though, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it's ballots.
It's November.
I think this is March.
So our election is March 5th.
I think this School board is March.
Yeah. But ballots drop February 5th or 6th or something. So that is the day
Wow.
that we have to work with. Like, people are going to be voting
Yeah.
the first week of February.
Okay.
You know,
And I'm assuming you're gonna have some sort of rallies and meetings, or are you just gonna knock on doors?
we are knocking on doors.
Oh wow!
So let's
Because
talk.
let's say I do a rally. We've done tons of rallies.
Right.
People still have to show up.
Of course.
People don't come to me.
You have to go to
as
them.
a politician.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. It's just not the way
I get
it
it.
works.
I get it.
Because I need to reach out to the voters who are not tapped in, who
Sure.
are actually tuned out.
Sure.
I have to go and talk to them one-on-one
Right.
in their busy schedules, in between their soccer practices and making dinner and taking care of their old mom, stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have time for this, and I don't blame them. People are busy. Like you said, everybody's working.
Right.
Mom and dad.
Right.
They've got to pay for their
kids' school.
Exactly.
If they're in private school, which most kids. I mean,
But even if they're not, they're
they're
paying
still have
top,
to pay for everything.
top dollar to live in Glendale
live out
because
there.
of the schools. That's
Right.
why our house prices are so high.
and we're
Right.
paying for this crap. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but this is crap.
Yeah.
If you stop teaching math, science, and English, and you're teaching critical race theory and gender studies, piss off. I'm not giving you my taxpayers' money anymore. I said I'm not.
Well,
giving
you don't have a
Oh,
tax money.
choice.
Exactly.
I was just going to say the same
know.
thing. You're doing it, bro.
Yeah, so that's why I'm running.
I know.
Really, it's because the only choice I have is to run or not run.
So let's talk about the age-old practice of canvassing. Okay, so have you guys seen videos of our state senator Portantino,
Oh, I saw that video. That was a nice video.
sponsor of the Parents Are Idiots Who Shouldn't Be Told About Their Children
Yeah.
Act, and we're going to silence you for being a
Right.
domestic terrorist? That Portantino,
Right.
Yeah, he went to Artsakh 4 times.
has the nerve to go
Is that even
canvassing.
true?
I have no
Who
idea.
cares if it's
I have
true?
no idea.
He has the nerve to go to Armenian houses and canvass and ask for their votes. Hey, if you're watching Portantino, piss off.
Yeah, man. That guy drives me crazy.
He drives everybody crazy.
He, we tried to meet with him about SB 596. So we had a group of 10 parents.
Yeah.
And included like all the GUSD Parents Voices people.
By the way, not to cut you off, but SB 596 is the bill that he
the one.
implemented.
That's the
Maybe
one.
not everyone knows. That's why
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to
Yeah,
make
so
sure.
I'll explain the history of SB 596. It started, the Glendale Teachers Association, so our local union here in Glendale, actually authored the bill.
Yeah.
They presented the first draft to Portantino, who probably gladly accepted it to get more teacher union backing because they're that big of a powerful influence in California politics. The GTA did
Give me a
that
longboard.
because, all right, thank you. The GTA sponsored that bill because I actually got a PRA request fulfilled. That's a public records request.
Yeah.
Where they showed I got an email from the district where they were talking about Tammy Tiber. You know the story about Tammy?
Yes.
Yeah, so she had shown her third grade class at Jefferson Elementary a video of an adult woman talking about how she was sexually aroused by Jodie Foster, nude in the movie Nell, right?
Yeah.
These are 8-year-olds.
Saw that video.
And the video
Yeah.
showed 6-7-year-old children being like shocked that
Yeah,
she
they
had
don't
just
even know
said
what
that.
she's
It's like,
saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and they were playing like tinsely music in the background because
Disgusting.
they're mocking the kids' innate reaction to
Yes.
that. The kids were repulsed by it.
Disgusting.
It looked like Romper Room. You won't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
but Mason knows what that is. When we were kids, they had Romper Room on TV, and I think it was a spoof of that. But,
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Was it the theme song?
No, but they had that type of music playing in the background
okay.
too.
Interesting. I'll go look that up.
Go look
I'm
it
curious.
up. Go look it up.
And so people were rightfully very enraged by that. I was running for city council at the time. I didn't really comment on it publicly too much, but other parents did, like Anita Karpekian. She did, who's currently running in Area E. And she got millions of views from her school board comments, which is incredible.
Yeah, actually, I saw that one too. Actually.
It got so much notoriety that Tammy Tiber got threatened. Reportedly. Allegedly, she was threatened
Yeah.
by people. I don't know who it was.
Allegedly.
I don't support it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Of course, we don't support it.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
don't.
setup
Yeah,
to
of
support,
course.
to sponsor the bill, man.
Yeah.
That's
Of
all it
course,
is.
of course. Yeah, so they,
And we didn't actually. You're probably getting to it, but we haven't explained what the bill entails.
so then GTA, Glendale Teachers Association, they authored the bill, which only increased the penalties for existing harassment laws, and it only specifically applied to school teachers, principals, admin, etc. And the way that it was worded, that if anybody in the community were to publicly criticize them, quote unquote, after hours in a way that annoyed them or was illegitimate based on their point of view.
Right. That could be anything.
That's harassment.
Yeah.
And they increased the penalties to, being fined $500.
$1,000.
It was up to $1,000.
$1,000.
I think, was
Up
that
to
the first
$1,000.
one?
Yeah, up to $1,000.
And then up to a year in prison.
Jail. Yeah. I read the whole thing.
Horse shit.
Which is...
Horse shit.
So, it got through.
So
basically, if you go to a school board
Yeah.
meeting and you just voice your opinion, if they don't like what you're saying, you could be fined $1,000.
Okay.
You do it again, they could put you in jail for a year.
All right. So let me ask you
That's
guys
what it
this.
comes down to.
Let me ask you guys this.
What kind of country are we living in?
Hypothetical. Let's say I know about 3 of these people's addresses in Glendale. Okay. And
You dox them? No, you don't want to do that.
word of mouth. I know where they,
Yeah, but you don't want to do that.
So let's say hypothetically, I drive on a city street near their house with my windows rolled down at 3 a.m. And I want to listen to Pink Floyd, The Wall,
You can do that.
and I just blast it.
That you can do.
So you're telling me GPD's going to roll up, tell me to leave. Okay. I don't. I still blast the music. They give me a ticket for noise pollution. You're telling me because of this law, I can go to jail.
Yeah, well, you could have, but Newsom vetoed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Had it passed.
Right.
But how do they know that I'm there for them? I'm just chilling in the street, on a
Yeah, of
public
course.
street. I'm
Well,
not on their property.
If it's viewed as a targeted offense.
How is it a targeted offense? Classic rock is not a targeted offense.
Yeah, and it's not targeted offense is not in the language. But regardless, that is it's as if it's annoying or illegitimate and after hours. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it meets those criteria, you're done.
Yeah,
that's it. You're guilty.
You're breaking the law.
But Newsom vetoed it, even though it passed the Senate and then Assembly and then Senate again and then
Yeah,
Newsom,
and there's a reason for that too.
It's election year. He
it's
wants
an
to get
election
elected.
year, Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
We all know he's running for
He's
president.
trying to move to the middle, but I mean,
can't now.
no one's buying that crap.
He did pass a lot of other laws that are extremely disturbing. So
Yeah, a lot.
yeah, we should all be very concerned about that.
And we are. I mean,
The fact that 12-year-olds now can essentially become wards of the state on
Right.
their own accord.
Yep.
They can go get their own psychological
if
intervention.
the parents don't gender affirm them, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be taken away.
Guys, communist nations, socialist nations, they always steal the children away from the parents. It's happened in Soviet Union. It happened in China. It's happened in Germany, Nazi Germany. And sadly, it's happening in California.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is the reality we're living in. And too many people are asleep at the wheel. You let these people get elected, and now because they have a supermajority, your civil rights are being trampled. The nuclear family is going to be dismantled in this country.
Well,
That's it. That's the bottom line.
It's in the manifesto, the Black Lives Matters. I mean, it's in there. It's in there.
Yeah.
It was until they took it out.
That's what they're trying to do.
Oh, that never happened.
Yeah.
They have a way of doing that where they say something crazy and then they edited it out. That happens a lot. And that really is what's going on. I mean, there's no.
They're
doubt
going
about
after
that.
the children.
Yeah.
That's
and
all.
so
it
the
is.
most revolutionary thing you probably can do is
Absolutely, you get
have
the next
kids,
generation. Yeah.
have kids, raise them well, make sure they have a stable identity and they respect you and they
Right.
respect discipline and
That's
they
right.
know their boundaries. They know that you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to learn that as
Of
adults.
course.
I mean, like
These children
everything
nowadays-
I'm saying, I should say it to myself too.
Jordan, these children nowadays, this generation Z or whatever, they do
Gen Z,
not
yeah.
accept accountability for their actions. I see it. I see it with these kids. They're spoiled little brats. They've never been reared. They've never been punished in their lives. Okay? We were reared as kids, and it caused one major side effect. You know what that was? Respect for elders.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. I used to tell my kids, I go, because of your grandfather, my right earlobe would fall to my hip by the time I was 5 years old. Okay? He would literally grab my earlobe and drag me. Okay? This is how it was in the 70s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And 80s.
And
90s.
And a part of the 90s.
My dad did the same stuff.
Yeah, you know.
And I respected him.
Dude, we
I
were
still
at,
do.
what was that ranch in Moore Park? They do the pumpkin thing.
I don't go to pumpkin ranches.
There's a ranch in Moore Park. There's a ranch in Moore Park. They
I
do
don't
like
have
a
little
pumpkin
kids.
patch for Halloween.
Yeah, I don't have kids.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. And my daughter was acting
Something
like
Farms?
Something Farm. Underwood Farms.
Yeah, Underwood.
Underwood
Yeah,
Farms.
Thank you.
Underwear farms?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Underwood.
My daughter was acting
Not much
up.
better.
Okay, but she's like, she's like 3 at the time. My daughter was acting up, so I got her over. I'm like, you got to stop acting like this, And I'm like, dude, this was 20 years ago. Like, my God, So then there's a child there, it's a white kid, with grandparents, right? And he's acting up, and they're trying to take a picture. The grandpa just goes, boy, bah! Smacks him.
Yeah, the grandpa does. If it was the mom or dad,
the kid just, and he's like, smile.
I'm pretty sure the parents would have done that.
That's old school parenting right there.
Right.
I'm like, you see, it still yields positive results.
It always does, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I live
discipline.
I mean, you got young kids. How old are you? Do you have kids?
I don't have any kids. No.
Yeah, so I live in that era of parents where like it's shunned if you apply physical discipline to your child.
Of course.
There's even in my own relationship, my own parenting skills, like we really do try to be more positive about that, right?
So
it doesn't work.
You know what my dad would say? Like we had liberal neighbors, in the 80s, and they would always say, Art, why are you so strict with the kids? Why do you, hit Ara? Because you should try talking to your son, understand them. He goes, children are like terrorists. You don't negotiate with terrorists. My dad said that, and it's a very true analogy, because if you give a child an inch, they're going to take a yard.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Yeah, I had a buddy. True. I had a buddy who straight up call his kid Yasser. Yasser Arafat. He'd be like, Jose Roland Yasser. Like, he'd be like, come here, Yasser.
No two-state solution.
But it's so true, man. Kids can manipulate parents so easily.
Yeah, and so like my son, like 2 or 3 nights ago, he's splashing my 1-year-old in the tub. And now if he does something like that, I will discipline him physically, but I make it very clear. I say, if you do this one more time, I will splash you in the face with the water.
That's right.
And he did.
Yeah, and
I did.
Yeah.
And he really freaked out. He like screamed, and it got in his eyes. And I was like, Hugh, you're gonna be okay. I would never really hurt you.
Yeah.
While he's screaming, I was like, I would never really hurt you, but you heard exactly what I was gonna say or exactly what I was gonna do, and I did it. Yeah. And your eyes are gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. Literally 2 seconds later, he was giving me hugs, being like, "You're right, Dad.
Of course.
You're right. You're right, Dad."
He learned his lesson,
and he was like cuddling with me after because he appreciates the fact that I drew a line. I stuck to it. I made it clear. Right. He's gonna listen next time. Maybe it'll take 2 or 3 more times, but it'll still happen.
Another thing is, like you said,
don't beat your kids, but
don't beat them, but just shake them up a little. Yeah. No, but when you threaten your child with some sort of disciplinary action, you better follow through with that. If
once they find out you're weak.
Because if you don't, you'll never be able to discipline them.
Oh yeah.
But if you do, not only will they get the message, they'll respect you even more for it.
Yeah.
So next time they'll think twice.
They'll know what thinking ahead is.
Right.
Look, when I was a kid, and my friends, and we all had these idiot friends, the ones that are going to get you jailed or killed. Whenever they called me and said, we're going to do something tonight, and the chances are you're probably going to go to jail or get killed. My fear was never, what's LAPD going to do to me if they catch us? What's my dad going to do if he finds out?
Right.
These children today do not have that fear of dad. They don't.
They don't have it at all.
That's the sad reality of this country. And again, it goes back to participation trophies.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, when we were kids, but we didn't get participation.
Are you kidding me, dude?
No, I never got one.
Dude, let me tell you something, dude. We would play hockey, and if we won, we'd go get pizza. If we lost, my dad would be like, are you crazy? You lost your game. You're not getting pizza. You come home and you eat chorisht or you eat kebab.
Whatever your mom made.
Armenian food at the house.
Whatever your mom made.
That's better than pizza, but...
My son... right.
Not when
now it is. Not when you're 9-10.
No way, bro.
My son, last year in a baseball game, it was 100 degrees, albeit it was hot, and our game was at 12 o'clock, he was starting in left field. Okay, he doesn't play outfield. He plays catcher, and the team we're playing against was in Jewel City, and they're the Toros. And the whole joke in the Little League team is the first baseman has a learner's permit already. They're older than 8 years old, is what I'm trying to say. Gotcha. They got mustaches and everything.
Oh, they're from the Dominican Republic,
basically. Okay. So they put up 7 runs on us. It's not even the second inning yet. It's the first inning. They 7 runs. My son decides to walk back into the dugout while the game is going, mind you, right in front of the pitcher, sits down, takes his hat off.
Oh, man.
What are you doing?
During the game.
During the game, he goes,
I'm tired.
because I'm tired and hot. This inning is taking forever. I don't want to play anymore. I'm like, I need you, and I'm a coach. I go, like, and he knows this. I said, look, when we play, I'm not dad anymore. I'm coach.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't pull this daddy stuff. You call me coach. Yeah. Okay? When we go back home, I'm daddy. Okay? So I go, I'm asking you to go back on the field. I go, we are short. Okay? He goes, I don't want to play anymore. I go, okay. I told the umpire 24 scratch. 3 innings. Okay? He's sitting there.
He got bored.
No, it gets better.
He wants to play.
My friend's son also quit on the team too, and he was pitching because of the 7 runs. He quit too. So now both managers' sons are sitting on the bench. How bad does this look? So I go to both of them. I go, you guys want to play or what? No, we're tired. We're done for a day. I go, okay, the dugout's for players. Spectators sit outside. Made them go outside and sit with everybody else. Okay? The point I'm trying to make is
with
this.
their uniforms on. And everything. Yeah.
They finally come back, and then my son goes, Dad, I want to play. I go, you're not playing anymore.
There you go.
Good.
Hold on. Here's the best part. I go, you quit on your team. You're not playing anymore. But can we still get McDonald's after the game?
Wow.
Negotiations, man.
I go, you quit on your team.
Yeah.
And you want McDonald's? I go, no, I'm sorry. I go, that is just crazy. I go, you're not being rewarded for this.
Yeah.
But he never quit on the team again.
Yeah.
After that, he never quit on the team. We had a tournament afterwards, and we made the championship game in that tournament. Okay, and he played catcher. He got tagged 3 times as catcher, cried, and he still played out. He never quit on the team again. So I wanted to show him perseverance. I wanted you to do something.
Sure. Yeah.
And you literally only get 1 shot at that.
Of course.
Only 1.
That's it.
After that, it's like,
absolutely.
well, now I saw they see the weakness.
Right.
Know?
Yes.
They
can
pounce
expose
on
that.
it. Yeah,
exactly.
They're so smart. Kids are so smart.
They're so smart. They're
cunning.
calculating.
Especially nowadays, man.
But they're smart in the sense that they will do whatever it takes to take the easy way out if they can.
Right.
Because it's just innate in them to not want to do work.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's why it's so important to teach them to push through. You have to learn that, and you have to learn it in real terms.
Yeah.
You have to take a crap job
Absolutely.
and make $6 an hour. I don't even know what are the work laws
Dude,
here
we
in
were
California?
$4.25 in minimum wage.
Yeah, my first job
$3.25.
My first job was like $3. I was 12.
$3.25, 15 and a half years old, working at KB Toys, wasting my money on Nintendo cartridges every 2 weeks when I got my check for $78 or whatever it was.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
When we get those jobs that introduce us into the business world, into the workforce, we have the safety net of our parents.
Right.
So we don't really work hard. No teenager ever works hard because they have the safety net. So when I used to get fired at all these jobs,
who cares? I'll get another job.
We're going to have to let you go. Fuck you. I don't want your job anyway. Fast forward 20 years, you got a house, a mortgage, kids in private school. Like, all right, we need to talk. All right, what's HR doing here? Please don't fire me.
Yeah.
You got a lot to lose with no safety net, I always found that funny.
It was fun, though.
But that's life, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I was raised LDS.
Right.
And Mormons really emphasize work.
Yeah.
Hard work. It's like in their songs that they sing in church. They literally have a song like, put your shoulder to the wheel, push along, do your duty with a heart full of song. And like, let no man shirk. We all have work. Put your shoulder to the wheel. That's the mentality I've always had. Yeah. It's like when I was a kid, I worked full time at McDonald's.
Yeah.
When I was 14. Okay.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. Hiring laws?
I could work overtime.
In
Indiana.
That was Indiana. California, 15 and a half.
Parental
you couldn't even do it at 15. You'd have to have 15 in 6 months.
If you got parental approval.
I didn't even need that.
No, in California, if you have parental approval, you're 15 years old.
Yeah.
You can work 40 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I could work
parental approval.
There were a couple weeks in the summer where I would work like 80 hours. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'm making money.
More money, yeah,
this
exactly.
is great.
I was
As
the
a
same way.
14-year-old,
I wanted to work as much as I could.
I loved it, man. And they like bumped me up.
More cartridges, more Nintendo games, bro.
That's great.
I bought a bass guitar, but
I bought a drum set. So,
but like that mentality right there is just like, everybody has to work, and there's no shame in it. And in fact, like it's dignified to get dirty, to get sweaty,
Absolutely.
to work yourself to the bone, and to be really tired after.
Yeah.
You know, and to kind of humiliate yourself doing it, because
That's
I had
right.
friends who would show up to the McDonald's.
Hey, hook me up.
Yeah, and they were wealthier than I was, and I was resentful. But at the same time, I was always like, at the end of the day, I was like, man, I'm really grateful for that. Even at 14, I realized that,
Because it built character,
Of course it
Jordan.
does.
It builds
Yeah,
character.
exactly.
Dude, when I was 16, I had a buddy that worked at Del Taco, bro.
Yeah.
We used to go over there all the time and, order the entire menu, $1.70.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody did that here.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you guys ever do the barter system?
Okay, explain which. I know what barter
Trading
is.
Well, like
fur
we
some
worked.
ale.
Yeah, what are you? Yeah, what are you
We
bartering?
worked. Let me explain.
Yeah.
So we worked in a video store. Okay,
Oh, I
so
remember you
3 of
told
us
me.
worked in a video store.
What's that? Just kidding.
Exactly.
Talking about dating myself.
It's a physical Netflix store.
It's a big red box. It's a big red box, kids. So we used to work at the video store. We had other friends from high school that worked at the Pizza Hut, Domino's,
gotcha.
and McDonald's, and we had other friends that worked at Rite Aid and all this stuff. So if we needed something, hey man, give me a carton of cigarettes from Rite Aid. All right, send over a large pizza over there. Okay, well, to get the large pizza, I want to rent out fucking Terminator, too. So we would rent out the movie to them, get the pizza from them, take it to the Rite Aid. It was hilarious. I mean, we had our own little community going.
Yeah, that was great. But you know what? The best part about that story is like all of you guys are in your teens and you're all working at different places.
Yeah.
Like with, I don't know if that's the case nowadays. I don't know if the
Kids don't work these days,
if they
dude.
work or not. That's,
Kids don't
I mean,
work. You don't want to
I
know
don't
what work
see-
is?
They do.
I don't see that many anymore.
They do, but it's not the culture. Like
Okay.
it's like the exception, not the norm.
Okay,
But when I grew up,
gotcha.
it was definitely
It was
the norm.
definitely
Of
the
course
norm.
it was the
Definitely
growing
the norm.
up. Yeah. Like I don't know anything since 15. I've worked since 15. I've
Dude,
never
it
stopped
was.
working.
Look, I know you
what
guys
mean?
felt the same way. You get that first check, you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
independence at this point because, you'd be like, you look at your dad. He's like, all those years, Dad, can I have $10? Can I have
Right,
$20? I want to
right.
get a baseball glove. I want to get this. So he put you to work, and I truly believe my dad had me for cheap slave labor.
Oh, bro.
Take the trash out, mow the lawn, do this.
You
do
don't
that.
even know. When I was
You
8,
know?
9, 10 years old, I used to go to work with my dad every summer.
Yeah.
I'd work all week and get paid $5.
Yeah.
8 years old, but I'll take that $5, save it the entire summer, and at the end of the summer, I'd use that money to buy a bike or
Yeah.
buy an Atari video game or something.
You know how they
like-
got away with it? You know how they got away with it? Every dad was in on it. You know what they do? I'm teaching you character. That's how they got you.
Yeah, I mean that's
Think about that.
like if I had a kid, I would take him to work with me every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, where am I going to take him? I mean, take him to my office and chill with me.
Yeah.
Because my work is not conventional. I DJ on the weekends. I do weddings, so I can't take him with me until he's like of a certain age. Like if he was 14, 15 years old, I'd take him with me so he can help me set up, break down, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But still, I would find something for him to do. Just so he can have that experience
yeah.
of working, of getting getting it instilled in him that he needs to work for the rest of his life, because that's part of life. That's the most important part of life.
Well,
You need to work for what you need to earn your keep. But especially like if you're an LDS and you sing that song all day.
Yeah.
But it's a
Yeah,
different.
if you don't work and you're LDS, like you gotta
You
do
get
some
shunned
soul
by the
searching.
community,
You gotta
right?
do some soul searching. Yeah.
It's a different world now. I mean, I don't think I would let my son at 15, 16 go work till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Now at a pizza parlor or somewhere
Yeah,
else.
now it'd be different.
It's a little different.
Especially in LA.
So like during
If
the
you're,
riots,
if you're living in rural Indiana,
What
it's
about
like,
it?
yeah,
Exactly.
Go
What
out-
if you
go
live out here in Glendale, Ross?
No, crime still happens in Glendale. bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me say
don't know.
this. In 1991,
Okay.
I used to work at a pizza store. Don't go there because Glendale's still much safer than Los Angeles with a better response time, Harry. I know where you're going with that. You're not going to goat me. We have the best police force in the freaking nation.
Here we go again.
Stop it.
Glendale is the
I
greatest
back
city
the
in the
blue.
world.
I back the blue, and I love Glendale police. Do not start this argument. I lived in Los Angeles, and I live in Glendale. Let me tell you, it's night and day.
Okay,
is.
stop with the misconception. I never said that Los Angeles is better than Glendale or anything like that. Or I've never slammed Glendale PD. So you're going what you're putting out there. People are going to.
What you're saying is
What I'm
I say Glendale has no crime. I said percentage-wise
that's what
per
I said.
capita, it has basically no crime.
Okay, great. So then your kid can work out here.
Dude, Harry, danger is everywhere. The chances of him not happening something in Glendale is a lot smaller than happening in Los Angeles. I will agree to that.
Okay, then
but what's to say some idiot doesn't walk into his liquor store and robs it, or the video store, or a coffee shop?
So how long are you gonna? Are you
20
shelter
years ago,
him?
this would never have fucking happened.
So you're gonna shelter him when he's 32?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying not at 15. Maybe at 17, 18, he'll go get a job.
Yeah, well, you said 16 earlier.
I said 15, 16 years old.
15, 16. Yeah.
Now, back to my point. Sorry, Jordan. Back to my point.
Cool.
1991. 1991.
I'll get it back on track here pretty soon.
1991. Okay, 1991. We had the LA riots.
Yeah.
Okay, and I lived in Los Feliz
Rodney
at the
King,
time.
baby.
I worked at a pizza place on Vermont and Franklin.
Right.
The owner of that pizza place was a Greek guy. He would always give free food to the LAPD.
Stavro.
No.
I don't know. Just throw out a name.
The point is, my mom calls the pizza store. This is pre-cell phones.
Right.
My mom called the pizza store. She goes, honey, the city's burning. Are
Right.
you okay?
Right.
I go, Mom, I'm here till 11 o'clock. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Six,
7,
yeah.
8, 9. One's in the can. 10 LAPD officers here. I think I'm pretty fucking safe. I'll see you when I get home. So that was a different time. Cops all around. They cared about the community. LAPD doesn't give a shit about their community anymore because they're handcuffed.
True.
They can't
They
believe
tell residents, buy a gun, get a guard dog, and vote Republican.
Right.
Why would cops say this?
Right.
Because it's the truth.
Yeah. it's
Okay,
true.
you're not getting an argument from me on that point.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying because, what I was saying is very evident. I'm just saying, like, because Glendale has such a low crime rate, it shouldn't be an issue.
It won't be an issue at 17, 18, but not at
Okay.
15, 16 years old.
Glendale has different issues.
I agree there.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the schools
Right.
and children being prepared for work in the real world.
Yeah.
What the schools are doing is they're preparing children for college.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they when they say we're Glendale Unified preparing our students for their future, all they're talking about is college.
Yes.
That's all they want. And that's fine. I've got 2 master's degrees. It's great. Go to college, But I have a friend up in La Crescenta who barely finished his GED,
Mm-hmm.
But he makes very good money running his family's HVAC company.
Yeah.
And he always knew he wasn't going to go to college.
Right.
He wasn't going to, he's been working his entire life with his dad, and he knew that was going to be his path, but he was ridiculed by his teachers, ridiculed by his friends,
Yeah.
Mocked for basically not taking that quote unquote normal successful route. And what Glendale Unified needs to do is push the best academics possible, while also supporting the kids who are basically going to be the backbone of the community and the economy, who are not going to take on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt
Yeah.
before they start making their career and their livelihood.
Yeah.
Owning a business, running that, being responsible, making those wise decisions very early on to do that. And the school system really needs to prepare everybody for that success, that future. Because we're not all going to go to college, and if you set up the expectation like you have to go to college, and that is the goal for K through 12 education, well, I mean, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because you're setting up a false reality for
Jordan,
a lot of kids.
Promise me when you get on the board, you bring back these 3 courses: shop, wood shop, and home economics. I'm serious. We had those in the 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
60s,
You know what
50s.
else we had?
I had home ec.
You know what else we had? We had riflery.
Yeah, we had.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't have it in the 90s.
We had it in the
but
80s.
Yeah,
Gun club.
All
Gun
right.
clubs.
Nice.
Yeah. So no one shot anyone.
Well, yeah. I mean,
We just learned how to shoot guns.
To quote Judge Smales, right to what Jordan just said, the world needs ditch diggers too, because my plumber is pushing 75.
Right.
My mechanic is going to
That's right.
retire.
Right.
Who the hell is going to fix our cars, clean our pipes, fix our pipes?
AI.
Electrician. No, dude, there's no
Some bot,
trade
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
There's no trade anymore. There's so much emphasis on academia, okay, so they can get them into the indoctrination centers, which are now
right.
universities, okay, to control them as a new generation of lemmings, all right? And the reality of it is, infrastructure is crumbling. We do not have people, blue-collar workers anymore. Nobody
Yeah.
knows how to do anything. Dude, there was a video 10 years ago, a bunch of millennials, sorry, Jordan, but
no, you're cool.
they were sitting around looking at somebody manually opening a can of food with a manual can
Can't
opener.
open it. Right.
He was struggling, And he finally opened it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the room applauded him.
They're all mesmerized.
I don't know if it was satire or if it was legit.
Yeah.
Because it was in a university, so all bets are off on that shit, right? If Harry and me didn't know how to open a can of tuna, we'd starve.
Yeah.
So we learned quick
Right.
how to do this shit.
Yeah.
These are easy traits that people are losing now.
Yeah, so when I went to college in 2004, I was like the only one that in my little group of friends that had been working.
Right.
That came from a family with, probably less than 6 figures.
Yeah.
Like we were all just like, I thought I was normal, but then I went to college. I was like, oh, I'm abnormal, I guess, for my generation.
What did your dad do for a living?
He was a prosecutor.
Okay.
But a rural, he did like he was a small town prosecutor, and he only specialized in domestic abuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a niche.
Yeah. So he didn't make good money by any means. He got a pension, but we weren't.
He was like, nobody beat any women this week.
No, they do. They do in small town Indiana. They do. There are many issues.
Right.
Dude,
Yeah.
Does anybody watch 30 Rock here?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh,
Actually.
great show.
I've
As
never
much
seen
as I hate Alec Baldwin, her writing was hilarious because he played a conservative Reaganite.
Oh,
But
he did?
anyway,
That's
the
funny.
blonde girl in the show, she
Who's
did
the
a-
blonde girl? No, not Tina
No,
Fey. The other one.
the other one. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she did a movie.
Tina Fey's friend, right? The one
Yeah.
that they're always together.
Yeah. But she did a
shit, I can't
movie
remember
in the
her name.
show in an off season, and when you said rural prosecutor, I remember
Amy Poehler.
No, it wasn't Amy Poehler. It was the title of the movie and the show was The Rural Juror. And it was intentionally said that way because it's so
It's hard to
roll
say
off
it.
the tongue.
Rural juror. I couldn't even say it. Rural
juror. Rural juror. I can say it. There we go.
I don't know why that popped into my head, but continue with your story.
I mean, that was it. I mean, I went to college and I was the only one
Right.
in my friends that had to work a job.
Yeah.
And I always worked in college too. I was always working in kitchens.
Yeah.
Or driving a bus. I drove city buses in college. I got my CDL.
What was that like?
Oh, it was crazy.
Did you try to
I
beat
mean,
your own
it
best
was Ann
time?
Arbor. I was
Yeah.
driving city buses in Ann Arbor, but I had to deal with drunk. The worst thing was drunk college kids.
Was there any black ice in the wintertime?
What?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Black
oh, yeah.
ice?
Yeah, I can drive a city
Did you
bus.
say black guys?
No, I didn't say black guys. I said black ice.
There were both.
If you had a Latin accent, you would have been saying black guys.
Jesus, Harry.
Definitely black ice. Definitely black ice.
There's some black guys.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so that was a culture shock for me, and I was really resentful in college because I was like the only one.
Yeah.
Who had to
Right.
But you had something they didn't have.
But then a lot of my
Structure?
friends ended up being very dependent on a high lifestyle, like a very high quality of life that they could not afford.
Yeah.
And they hit depression.
Right.
They hit drug abuse. I've had so many friends who died of ODs.
because of zero coping skills.
Yeah, exactly. And these people are very well educated, but
That's right.
they are very susceptible to mental illness due to this false expectation
That's right.
of reality that they will never obtain if they don't start working hard.
That's right.
That's really it.
That's exactly it.
And so then looking back, I'm like very grateful that I didn't have their experience and I didn't have a lot of money growing up. It's like such a blessing that was my environment.
100%.
Yeah.
You know.
And so then like when I've worked the worst jobs. And so now when I'm like getting ridiculed publicly or I have to, go knock on thousands of doors.
Yeah.
Or in my current job, which is I work a white collar job.
Yeah.
I'm like, and people complain. I'm like, you have no idea how hard working is. Like, do you know what like normal people have to do every day just to keep a roof over their heads?
Exactly.
This is nothing. This is easy.
It's
Come knock on doors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do something big.
Absolutely.
Do something big because like you only live once.
Yep.
And you might as well do everything you can to help your community, to help your kids, to help the parents around you, show some leadership.
So
It's just work.
Getting back to the school board, how many seats are available? Are up for grabs? Just two.
Just 2 seats.
So it's the one for Friedman and the one for who's the other? Nairi.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nairi's going.
Yeah. She's not running again.
She's not. She's just not running.
She's not running again. I think she's probably crumbling under the pressure. That's my guess.
Yeah,
because
especially after that Gallus thing.
Oh yeah, well,
she's on video, man.
I can't believe if she was there. I mean, I can believe she was there because she'll do whatever it takes to stay with the in group.
But that thing is, but that's just.
And by the way, she has no kids.
That's just it. If she'll do whatever it is to stay in the in group, why isn't she running again?
Because I think that she's genuinely embarrassed by what she did to the community and the fact that we exposed that to her own community.
She's right about that.
Yeah. She also has told many people that she disagrees with the policies that she has voted for, but she would never say it publicly.
She never says it at any school board meeting, ever.
Everyone knows that she's just
Yeah.
a manipulator, She's manipulating people.
She's the head of the board, right?
She was the board president.
She's not now?
Last year. And then Freeman took over.
Okay.
Because they just rotate.
Yeah, wait, Vivian ran it, didn't she?
No, Vivian was the superintendent.
Oh, that's right. She was superintendent.
And now it's Darnica Watson.
Gotcha.
Who's that person?
She was head of HR prior to that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's
When I say
experience
who she is, when I'm asking who she is, like, what is she about? Is she on board with?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. She's completely DEI.
Okay.
She wants to push critical race
ESG
theory in
and
the
all that
schools
stuff.
while saying it's not in the schools. I mean, that's her MO.
Right.
She, like I said, HR, she has an educational PhD, but I have her thesis, and her thesis is pretty short. It's like less than 100 pages. I wrote a master's thesis for landscape architecture that was like 230 pages. And hers is 96 pages.
It's a pamphlet.
And it's really it's not about education, but it's about the foster system in the public school education system. Mm-hmm. So when you read it, you're like, wait, I don't know if I'm reading an educational thesis or if I'm reading a social work thesis, because it's more about public programs for, foster youth. Yeah. And so it's very peculiar that they hired this person who has no background in administration.
Of course,
HR is not the same as running a district.
HR has zero people skills. Okay, you have zero people skills. Go work in HR. You fire people every minute, and you have to have zero remorse about it because nobody's friends with people in HR for a reason.
Yeah.
And now you're a superintendent of a public school system.
Yeah.
What's going on?
That makes sense.
Like, come on, man. This is this is worse than Hollywood with nepotism.
Yeah, she checked off just enough boxes.
Exactly.
Given DEI, we have to wonder if she was actually selected purely based on what I just told you. If she was selected purely based on her merit,
right,
or if there was a racial component or a gender component.
There is no more meritocracy under Joe Biden and his administration.
Well, I would agree with that.
There's no more meritocracy. And it's gonna damage every facet of every industry. It's gonna would you rather have a gay transgender person of color with zero flight experience flying you from LA to New York?
Yeah.
Okay. Or would you rather have a white combat tested 50-year veteran airline pilot flying you?
Or it just doesn't matter.
Or does it matter?
Yeah. So like my wife plays in the LA Phil. They have blind auditions.
Yeah.
Up until the very last round, you don't know who is going to make it to the next audition. There's literally a screen.
Wow, you just named a TV show. This is awesome.
Blind auditions?
Blind auditions. That's great. Mental note, pitch down. No, sorry.
Basil's a stand-up comic too, by the way. You were talking about that earlier.
The culture of stand-up comedy has changed.
He is.
Oh, yeah? You're stand-up? I didn't know that.
The culture's changed. I pissed off too many people. And
so we know,
what
you were saying, we already know what's going on
in
the industry. So,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, we had a little pre-chat before we went live.
Right.
So, Jordan, let me ask you this. To all the viewers out there, what is your vision for the school board?
Yeah, I want to get back to basics in education. We have to first identify the problems that we have. I don't think the district has been honest with why we're having lower test scores. And in fact, they've tried to cover up the lower test scores. They just put out a recent propaganda video, the district did, where they said, all of our test scores are back up to pre-pandemic levels. But
I actually saw that.
Yeah, the tests that they were giving before the pandemic were about 30% longer. Just that alone makes it incomparable. You cannot compare those numbers and expect a one-to-one result. You simply cannot say it. You can't do that. And so they're misleading people. They're also stating they're averaging the 3rd to 11th grade scores, and the 3rd grade scores are super high for math, right? When you're just figuring out if it's a
1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, exactly. versus, calculating rates over time, exponential rates, doing factors and things like this, calculus. And the 11th grade scores are abysmal when it really matters. And if they're really so concerned about preparing kids for college, you would think that they would sit there and say, our 11th grade scores are at historical lows. At CV High School, only 50% of kids are proficient in math. At Hoover High School, it's something like 29% or 28%, and 26% at Glendale High. So nearly 75% of kids at Glendale High School are not proficient in math by the 11th grade. And only half are proficient in CV. And that's the best school that we have.
So how do you propose
Other
to
than
change
Clark.
that? How do you propose to change that?
We
know the problem. What's
Yeah.
the solution?
So with math specifically, because I think math is probably the most important academic discipline that we need to focus on, because you can get real results. It's very objective. It's right or it's wrong.
Not according to the left. Math is racist now.
Well, yeah, and Glendale Unified has actually adopted Learning for Justice. That's the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah.
And they have a publication that Glendale has specifically said teachers can use this as a resource.
Right.
There are articles in that publication that says that math is based on racist ideologies.
I heard that.
It's
yeah.
absolutely political. It's math, and math education has been used to subjugate and even kill black people. And I'm almost certain I'm quoting that correctly. I could look it up, but I'm very close to what they're saying, if not accurate. But it has. Where is this coming from? Why would
we
the
know
district?
where it's coming from.
Well, I know where it's coming from, but why is the district supporting it? And then whenever I bring that up and quote their own material, they say it's not real. And so I'm like, what?
Unbelievable.
I can't believe that you guys are the ones who are in charge of adopting this curriculum.
Yeah.
While your math scores are plummeting, you're pushing this ideology while denying you're doing that, and you're just confusing and dividing the entire community over words on a page that should have nothing to do with this district.
So you feel you got to remove all.
We have to remove all anti-bias education.
Okay.
We have to take the focus, and this goes to the budget too. So if you look at the budget, they are spending tens of millions of dollars, something like $60 million on, don't get me wrong, these are good things to invest in, but I'm just going to give you some scale, okay? Something to compare it to. For low-income students, for English as a second language students, for special education, it's something like $60-70 million on those three.
Okay.
Those three line items alone.
Okay.
For gifted and talented, go ahead and take a guess as to what.
200,000.
Very close.
Yeah.
You got a guess?
Oh, since you said very close, 150.
It's 100,000.
Don't price this right, me bitch. $1.
It's 100,000. That's less than 1/4%.
That's terrible.
And in other states, and I think in other districts in the state, but in other states certainly, gifted and talented is considered special education.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now in California, we have equity. We don't have equalized education. Equalized budgeting. We have equity-based budgeting. So they're investing heavily into quote-unquote underserved communities.
No.
But in doing so, they're now underserving another community.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's crazy?
They don't see the hypocrisy of their actions.
They do see it. They know
just don't
exactly
care.
what they're doing, but they really don't care because they want to be in the in group. They want the political control. They want to remain homogenized in that political front.
Yeah, what I was going to say is crazy that before, I'd say 2019, 2020, the word equity was only used in the real estate market.
Or in law.
Or in investments.
Or in law. There is equity in law. There is a legal philosophy of equity.
Now all of a sudden it's about social justice. I mean, are you guys kidding me? Like, how did that even come about? You know,
it's all by planning, man. It's all by planning.
It's actually very nefarious the way that they did it.
I mean, it's genius.
Yeah,
nefarious is a good word, but
it
is also genius.
Yeah.
So Jordan, gender issues.
Well, hold on. My goal though. Going back to math. They've also gotten rid of the ability for children who can get to calculus because there are a lot of them, especially in my district. My district has it's the highest performing area in the entire.
La Crescenta has cleaner water. I mean, we all know that.
I filter my water so much, man.
I just drink bottled water.
I've got an RO with remineralization.
Nice.
My kids have good water. Yeah, I don't trust any of the tap water for sure.
no.
Anyway, that's a side point. What was my train of thought? Oh, calculus.
Yeah.
Calculus. You
Luck
can.
or Sen had good students.
You can't get to calculus in the district at any of our schools unless you take summer school.
Unbelievable.
That cannot happen. And when I was a kid, you could get to calculus easily by junior year if you could do the work.
Yeah, we took pre-cal.
Yeah, we took. Yeah, we did
But
it.
Calc BC
Yeah.
should be available for kids who can do it. For these talented kids who have the support
I was just gonna
mechanism.
say it's not necessary for everyone. Like I took it and I never used it in my life. But
Not at all.
Yeah. But I mean, you should be able to get to it without having to go to summer school.
Yeah, but if you want to go into like aerospace engineering,
Yeah.
or machine learning, like this is what you have to do. You have to get to that point. You have to before college.
This is the 90s now, okay? Yeah. When you go to the college, you got to take an aptitude test to see what your math level is, right? And I took AP Calc, so I didn't know better. I scored so high in the test, they put me in pre-cal. And my friend's like, what'd you get into? I got pre-cal 101. He goes, you're a fucking idiot. He goes, why don't you dumb down the test? You can take algebra with me and get an easy A. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't think of that. So I'm in college eating shit doing pre-calc, and this guy's coasting in algebra, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. You're right. You got to go back to the basics here.
And they've also done this thing where they've gotten rid of algebra 1.
Really?
Yeah. It's all called integrated math now. And they blended in a lot of the disciplines, and it's no longer a linear approach to math, like a sequential, like we did algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, calc.
So it's all blended together.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got a taste of that doing my son's homework with him in Common Core.
Oh, jeez.
Hold on. This is an interesting
Common Core.
I
want to hear this.
This is a funny story.
Okay.
So he's like, Dad, help me with my homework.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do you make a 10? I'm like, what the fuck
what
does
does
make
that
a
mean?
10?
What do you mean?
He goes, well, I have 7 and I have 6. I have to add them, but I have to make a 10. I go, just make 13.
Yeah.
In my brain, I'm wired
7
differently.
plus 6, yeah.
Yeah. So in their brain, they're being trained to say, okay, you have 7 here, you have 6 here, you have 6 extra, take 3 from that 6, become a 10, and then do 10 plus 3. So ass backwards, right? And there's different strategies and stuff. I'm not going to go into the entire Common Core thing, but what got me was, and this is actually pretty cool, they do math equations in the form of reading, right? So he got confused. He's like, if Sally has 10, blah, blah, blah apples, and she gave Tim 5 apples, and John had this many apples to begin with, and I read it, and he's like, what does this mean? It's 7. I go, this is algebra. This is algebra. I'm going to teach you how to solve this using an algebraic equation. So I wrote it down with an algebraic formula to a first grader, mind you. Mm-hmm. He got that. He got the variable issue, but he couldn't get the reading comprehension down. So this is the best part. His teacher, a friend of mine, our age, she goes, "Can you stop teaching him algebra when you're doing the homework, because you're not doing him a disservice, because he's gonna have to learn it this way." And I'm like, "No, I want him to learn our way so he can actually kick butt, in every math class."
Just register.
And the kid is getting A's.
What you just said, register. He goes to an Armenian private school. Are they doing Common Core there?
Well, yes, because it's state mandated. It's state mandated. However,
private schools.
You have to. You have to do it at private schools.
I don't think you technically have to.
To get the state funding, you have to.
I don't think that's totally true.
It may be not, but
because the state sets standards, and those are just very basic. By the 3rd grade, they have to be able to do some multiplication, right? Something like that. But then the school district has the ability, has the complete autonomy to determine how they actually do that through the curriculum.
But it's been my understanding that the school falls under LAUSD guidelines because they fall in the city of LA.
No, the county, no. They don't.
Okay.
In terms of curriculum, every
then
school
it makes
district,
no sense for them to teach Common Core if what Jordan's saying is true.
Yeah, they don't have to.
Yeah. I don't know why they're doing it then.
Well, it's easier because the school has to essentially demonstrate that whatever curriculum they're proposing will meet the standards. And to meet that standard, to actually demonstrate that, takes work. Yeah. You have to put together a proposal to be approved by the state. Mm-hmm. So you have to go through that process. And most districts, school boards, just don't have it together.
Yeah,
They
so
don't have
they're-
the willingness
so
to do that.
basically-
I mean, the school board members make $12,000 a year.
They're just falling in line. Is
Yeah.
what I'm
12 grand a
getting.
year. Like, why would you?
nothing.
Why would you spend the time?
They're just
doing
falling
that?
in line.
That's it.
And then you get some person like me that's like, no, I don't really care about the money. Let's do the right thing.
So when the state, I don't know who comes, but our school got audited by the state education board or whatever to be accredited. So the school has to be accredited, right, with a certain curriculum. And our school places an emphasis on academia. So we have a lot of AP classes and all this stuff in middle school and high school. So when they go do that, they get certified all the time. Does Glendale public schools get certified at all? Do public schools even get certified at all? I don't know anything about this.
I think by default they are. I mean, they have to meet certain standards set out by the state. I think
Okay.
I that's a good question. I've never thought about their accreditation status. At least not in K through 12. I know in colleges they have to go through that.
Yeah, because I know magnet schools, private schools have to do it.
I think it's more about just meeting the standards.
Okay.
Assuring that the public schools are in fact meeting.
but that's a terrible bar. I mean, if you're gonna
actually
satisfy
is-
the minimum requirements, that's terrible.
It's actually great. Well, if the school district is lazy and the leadership is lazy and they don't want to actually serve the students and they just want to do what's easiest for them, then
Right.
yeah, that is terrible. The
Yeah.
incentives are poor.
the incentive support. That's what
Correct.
I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there is leeway for localized districts
Yeah.
to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And create a really exceptional program.
Yeah.
Which is what we could do here in Glendale. We
course.
could easily do that here.
Dude, we had some of the best schools in the country, in the state, at least.
Well,
Glendale
we
had a
still do. We
great-
still do. That's the problem. But the bar has been lowered to. I mean, everything's lesser quality. So I
Well,
mean,
what about the quality of teachers? I have a lot of close friends who are teachers, and a lot of them do not fall in line with this agenda. And
Yeah,
a lot of them
same.
even tell me, because they keep their mouths shut. They go in there, do their work, and they leave. A lot of them also tell me some of their principals don't fall in line with this agenda,
Right.
so they're not affected as much.
Yes.
So a lot of my friends, are just getting in there, and they care about their students. Don't get me wrong; they care about their students. They go in there, they do their
course.
job, but they just tune out all this other noise, And I actually have a friend that's a teacher at Glendale Unified. She left the teachers union. She literally left. She walked
I have
away.
a few friends who did that. Yeah.
She literally walked away because I can't be a part of this anymore. This is lunacy.
Yeah. That's
So,
great.
Yeah.
I mean, even Alan Freeman, Jennifer Freeman's husband.
Yeah.
Who used to be the president of the union for something like 7 years. I think I'm wrong on that number, but he was the president of the union, and he left the union because they bypassed their required procedure to basically negotiate or to what's the word I'm looking for, to deal with his grievances. And instead of doing that,
Facilitate his grievances.
yeah, they just kicked him out. And they bypassed all of their bylaws to do that.
Unbelievable.
And he ended up leaving the union. And I assume he's like a very liberal person who
Has
probably
to
like
be with
has,
that wife.
by default agrees with the union. He
Yeah.
hates Trump, I know that.
Yeah.
Based on his emails that he released to the entire district. But he called the union a hate organization. Have you seen those emails?
Wow. No.
No.
Yeah. He called it a hate organization that has completely been taken over by these radical political figures. He calls them political hacks. And he's talking about Alicia Harris, Talene Arsenian, Chris Davis, if you guys know these people. This is the current union leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I encourage teachers, if you have issues with the schools, you can speak out against what they're doing. You can speak out against what the union is doing. Sure, you may you're definitely going to suffer some social backlash, but that's okay in the long run.
Let's talk about that.
But leave the union. You have the option to leave the union,
Yes.
and you're still protected by the union. You're legally
Correct.
You're legally protected. I have left my own union.
Yeah.
With my own job, I am no longer a paying member of my union.
Yeah.
Because of that, and they still have to protect me.
Of course.
So we should all take advantage of that.
So let's talk about teachers leaving the union and teachers filing grievances. Now, there's a teacher that's making headlines right now, and I actually predict this case is going to make national news. Ray Shelton is suing Glendale Unified School District. Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah.
Fill us in on this. Who's Ray Shelton, and what is he filing a grievance for?
Yeah, Ray Shelton was a 5th grade teacher at Mark Keppel. A
was
really great guy.
He was on Dr. Phil once.
Yeah, he was on Dr. Phil.
Oh, what a great clip.
Yeah, that was a great clip.
And Ray is gay,
Yeah.
to be clear, always has been.
Yeah.
Not that matters.
No.
And he's been awarded by the district many times. He went to a school board meeting on April 18th, I think. And he came in speaking out aggressively against their gender ideology that they're pushing in the schools for children. And he's seen it firsthand. Yeah. He disagrees with it, as any rational adult would. He also held up, this is the reason we think, we actually don't know, but he held up a sign that resembled a swastika at the union or at the school board meeting, but it was the progress flag, with the triangle on it, and it was arranged in 4 different directions. Yeah. And that triangle, when you do that, resembles a swastika.
Right.
And his point is that what they're doing with this ideology, with their policies, where if a 6-year-old changes their name, gender, pronouns, everybody has to get on board with that.
Yep.
You have to refer to that person, that child, as their new identity. And if you don't, that's harassment. It's literally a misdemeanor.
Jeez.
If you don't do it. So he's saying, the whole point of him saying that, or bringing that, I didn't even know he had it, by the way. Everyone's accusing me of endorsing it. It's like, bro, I had no clue he even had it. Even when I'm sitting there in the picture next to him and he's holding it up. And
you're looking at it
I didn't even know he was what he was holding. And then I saw the picture after, and I was like, oh.
You're looking at it like, what is this?
Now I see why everyone's pissed off. But that really was his point, is not to endorse Nazism. Ray hates Nazis. Of course, he's like an American libertarian. Actually, that's what he is. So that, and then the next morning he was excused from his class, and that was why, because of what he said and because of that symbol he held.
And Ray was employed by Glendale Unified for a long time, right?
25 years.
Award-winning teacher.
Written up many times in Glendale News Press. The favorite among many students.
Loved him.
They actually gave him a lot of the problematic students with learning disabilities, because he was able to work with them and progress them into the 6th grade in middle school.
He was Glendale's stand and delivered teacher.
Yeah. And, he's got advanced degrees in child psychology. He's been fascinated with that discipline since he was a kid himself. He was raised in a really, really tumultuous family. Yeah. Very poor. He had nothing. And, he kind of made his way in education thinking that he could help kids get through their own difficulties. That's a very noble effort to go into public education. For any teacher. I mean, even if you disagree with me politically, if you do it, I admire you. Yeah. If you do it to advance your own political agenda, I have a problem with you. Yeah. Especially when it comes to the identities of children. But he, was dismissed the next day. And so he is now suing as of the 13th. I think they filed their suit. His attorney is suing on violations of the First and the 14th Amendments.
Yeah, and I think he's got a strong case.
He definitely has a strong case.
Very strong case.
Yeah, and he's doing it for the right reasons. He's not going to win any money from this. No. Maybe a few thousand.
Yeah, he'll get something,
but it's not going to be
restitution fees and stuff.
It's not going to be in the millions.
Right.
No. He was already going to retire.
Yeah.
Right. He basically couldn't finish, I think, 2 months, or something like that of his career. But it uprooted the.
But did they cancel his pension?
I don't know. No, I don't believe so. Okay. I think they just put him on indefinite leave. Until he retired.
Jordan, isn't this funny? When we were kids, we would always joke. When a teacher would sleep with a student, LAUSD, because I grew up in LA, LAUSD would say, they're on administrative leave.
Right.
They're not going to get fired. They're not going to jail for sleeping with a minor. They're on administrative leave.
Right.
They go away for 6 months on a vacation, paid vacation.
Yep.
It blows over. Teacher comes back to work. What the fuck? Yep. I'm sorry, but you're sleeping with a minor. You should be in jail half the time. The LAUSD and the teachers union shoved it under the rug so many times.
Correct.
Interesting.
Okay, 100%. And then now, poor Ray says something that goes against the...
No, he didn't say anything. He held up a sign.
Well, he did speak out.
I know, but I mean, you're saying it was mostly because of the sign.
Well, no one knows, actually.
Okay.
But those events occurred
right
at that meeting, and the next morning he was released.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're going against the grain. You got to go. And that's the sad reality of it. You can do whatever you want. Right. If you're a part of the team, they will protect you.
Yeah, it's like a Gestapo, bro.
Look at freaking Hunter Biden.
That's all it is.
Look at Hunter Biden. If freaking, what's his name?
Donald Trump Jr. did the same
Don
thing.
Jr. did the same thing. They'd crucify this guy. Okay,
If
come
he had
on.
to appear, if he had a subpoena to appear before Congress and he didn't appear before
Of
Congress,
course.
and he just had a news conference right outside the Capitol, they would have put him away.
Of course,
right away.
It's the
And the
Democratic
fact that
double
Bannon,
standard.
Steve Bannon didn't appear when he was subpoenaed,
Right,
and he was held.
He was held in contempt.
Exactly, and they
Yeah.
haven't done that with him.
Nope.
With Hunter yet.
No, of course not.
Beside the point.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
it's just
there is always a double standard
Yeah.
being applied,
Of course,
in support of their agenda.
the agenda, exactly. So I want to switch gears real quick. Talk about Sacramento. Gavin Newsom approving all these books or something for state curriculum for standard reading. A lot of trans books, gender books, homosexual books. These are all for elementary school. I'm sorry, these are all for elementary school kids.
Yeah.
This is not where it should be.
I agree.
Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry, dude. It's the way you said it. I'm sorry.
What is-
Homosexual.
Oh, get out of here, Harry. Grow up. Grow up. Stop.
All right.
Never grow up.
Yeah.
Artie Lang has a funny joke.
What?
Artie from the Howard Stern show back in
Yeah,
the
of
day.
course. No one knows Artie.
No, I don't. I actually really have never seen Howard Stern.
Well,
It's good. Don't start now.
yeah. Now he's
He's
Yeah,
just-
no, I've never been interested.
He's a mouthpiece for the propaganda machine.
Back in the day, he was fighting against the man. Now he is the man.
Well,
He, he got
because he got
talking to
paid.
at some
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Because he got paid.
So anyway, Artie has a funny joke when he said homosexual. Anytime someone says homosexual, I think of, I don't know if I could say it because of YouTube, but if you just take that word and cut it in half in the first part of it, anyway, he hates the Dallas Cowboys because he's a Giants fan, right, Artie? So he goes, it's only fitting that this is back in the day, but it's only fitting that the quarterback's last name rhymes with homo. And he dates a fat chick. Tony Romo, you were seeing Jessica Simpson at the time.
Okay, Harry. That's a C grade joke at best.
I know, but it was hilarious when you said it. And it's an.
I have no point of reference for this whatsoever.
Yeah.
I literally have no clue.
Just think Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
But in the
but in the
2000s.
early
I get that.
2000s, when Jessica Simpson was like huge. Literally at that point, but she was pretty big as far as a pop star, and Tony Romo was the sensation of the league at that point.
Yeah.
And he's a Giants fan. Anyway, I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry, dude.
So my point is, before we got segued into pop culture and NFL,
It's always going to come back to movies or sports
Of
or
course.
something with me.
Of course. But how do you feel about this? Number one, obviously you're against it. You're outraged about this. Now, if you were a part of the school board, okay, how would you fight Newsom on this? Because now he's basically saying, hey, Jordan, I don't give a shit. You're going to put these books in these kids' libraries.
Yeah, I would go back to the standards and say, here are your exact standards, Newsom. We are meeting those by our curriculum, by our books, and you actually have no legal authority to come in here and tell us how to determine how to meet your standards.
Very good answer. However, Temecula said the same thing.
Temecula screwed up.
How did they screw up?
Because they weren't prepared to, like that proposal I just said. Okay, so they have to meet state history, social science standards.
Yeah.
The state gives you like an approved list of books, and the books that were in question were TCI. That's the Teachers Center or Teachers Curriculum Institute.
Okay.
It's a California-based publishing company. We have those books in Glendale. All of our history and social science books are TCI.
Okay.
Those were the books in question. And Temecula had not done enough legwork, grunt work, real work
to meet the standards.
To show that we have this alternative curriculum that meets your standards. That's literally, it's paperwork.
Wow.
It's paperwork. And they
caught it.
Were caught on their butt.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough time. Because there is a mandated time frame in which they can meet that, right? They have to meet that.
And Glendale will be okay.
We have to undo the damage.
Yeah.
That alone is going to take 1 term, 2 terms.
Yeah.
Because we're so far along. We're farther along than Temecula. Temecula was fighting the fight that we should have had 5 years ago.
Right.
I see.
Right? But our board adopted all this stuff without
I
any
will
question.
I will say one thing about Glendale and the GUSD and the board and everything. When the whole incident happened back in June when people were at the board meeting and then the Antifa showed up and all that.
Antifa was invited.
Of course.
Right.
Antifa was invited, and when they are invited,
Right.
the other side who wants a street brawl shows up.
Sure.
They look for it. Yeah.
It got at least statewide intent. It actually got nationwide attention,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
but it really got statewide attention to the point that Gavin Newsom had to come down and do a closed door meeting.
Yeah, the week
With
after.
Vivian, yeah.
The week after. Okay, so my point is, if we want anything done, we have to make it at a volume where there's that much noise made.
Okay, so regarding the noise,
Meaning there has to be some sort of organizational skills put in place here.
Yeah.
With leadership where they can bring people out like they did during those.
Okay,
during
so
June.
let me say this right now about the man sitting between us.
Okay.
I was there for the one in June. Okay,
The big one.
the big one.
The big one, right?
I went with a couple of friends who were educators and stuff, and I wanted to see what was going on. I got there a little late before the melee happened,
Right.
and right when they broke it up. You were on the megahorn saying, "Please do not engage. Please do not engage.
Yes.
Please do not engage."
Many times.
I will remember that. He wanted a peaceful protest to get his voice across.
Okay.
But Antifa kept antagonizing them to the point where GPD put the barrier right in the middle of the parking lot,
Yep.
separated them. That's exactly when I got there. Okay. And then they just said, it's an unlawful assembly. Get the hell out of here. And now you have concerned parents who didn't break the law. They're going to get arrested by GPD because GPD is doing their job. If they declare an unlawful assembly, you got to get the hell out of there.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Right.
So the parents and Jordan and everybody here that was on this side, they play by the rules. These antagonizers.
Yeah, we know this. I mean, yeah,
Right.
we know.
So
Yeah.
they were the ones making all the noise.
Right.
The media comes in, spins it.
Well, yeah,
okay,
that's to be
Spins it
expected.
to the point where the parents are now domestic terrorists
Correct.
and they're homophobes.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm on a list somewhere for that.
That's to be expected.
It gets to the, no. This is my point.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, this is my point now. I started defending the parents on Nextdoor, and this is why I deleted the app, by the way, because Nextdoor is the stupidest business
Never do
model
that.
ever.
I love Nextdoor.
No, I don't. You know why? You know why I don't like Nextdoor? Nextdoor gives broke, unemployed, 40-year-old virgins who live in neighborhoods the power to moderate freaking
Correct.
groups.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
our group had a guy that lives in Monterey Corridor, and the guy would censor everything.
Burke Holder?
No, he's a
What
chubby
about
guy.
that lady that
Oh my
criticized?
God.
She criticized the title of our podcast.
Dude.
Our
Dude,
podcast.
so
name.
I get on Nextdoor and I said, guys, we're a Glendale podcast. We have the mayor coming on the show. If you guys want to ask him questions, please let us know.
You have Brahman on this?
no,
no,
not
no,
Brahman.
hell
It was
no.
it was
Artie.
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 Is last year. So
Yeah.
this girl gets on. Why does your show have to be called Bros and Brews? You're alienating women. And I'm like, are you for real? We're two guys, okay, with beer. Our podcast is literally in a bar. What is wrong with you? I go, have you ever watched 2.5 Men?
Right.
I go, how about a great movie called Men in Black? You know,
Right.
this is the stupid reality of my neighbors. I don't want to
Boys-
know who my
Boys in the
neighbors are
Hood.
at this
Boy,
point.
yeah.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, where the boys are.
So there's another girl, Ani Safaria or something, that
The Three
lives in
Amigos.
Rossmore.
Three amigos. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what pissed me off. They're talking about the school curriculum and stuff. I started defending the parents. Okay, Mayor Spanky, before he became a national phenomenon after the whole thing, he says
He's gonna be on the next
Aura,
podcast."
I was there with the parents on the front line. I mean, it took
Yeah,
me
right.
20 fucking minutes of chatting with this guy to finally get him to admit he was on the side of the LGBTQ. Of
course he
Okay,
was.
so
He actually took the spot. Someone saved his place in line, and he went and took the spot of other parents who actually go to GUSD.
Yeah.
Wow.
To speak.
Yeah.
So he got to speak before they did.
Yeah.
And he was just a random politician.
That guy's a failed improv freaking actor, bro.
He's a comic, too.
This
Failed comic.
Laura Friedman's pet project. That's all he is.
A successful commie.
Yeah.
He literally tells people he's a Trotskyite.
Yeah.
He's a Trotskyite who wants to defund the police and remove all prisons in this country. Who the fuck elected this idiot, especially in Burbank?
Well, in Burbank, they don't get elected again.
Oh, no, you get selected, not elected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rotation.
I mean, he's perfect for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, 100%.
A total
He could
sociopathic
be the
narcissist.
face of the Democratic Party.
He really is. Yeah. He could be. He just met
face.
Biden
Oh,
on the tarmac with Karen Bass.
Well, I'm pretty sure Biden doesn't remember it.
Well, yeah, and Biden's wife, Dr.
Yeah.
Jill Biden. He was there on the tarmac with Karen Bass.
Air Force One should have ran him over.
Yeah, and he's running for county supervisor, which means he will control the budget.
Yes, sir.
He will control the budget for the sheriff.
I don't think he's going to win.
Let's hope not.
I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to win.
I mean, it's against Catherine Barger. So
Yeah, I don't
doubt
think
it.
he's gonna win.
I doubt it, but we'll find out, right?
Yeah.
He's got a ton of money.
Well, the Burbank City Council basically told him after he got spanked by a drag queen in front of fucking children, and it ended up on Jesse Waters' show, okay, with Arno talking about it on the Wise Nuts podcast.
Arno got on Jesse Waters.
Yeah, Arno got on Jesse Waters.
Arno.
Basically, Burbank basically City Council said, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we do not need this attention." Like,
Right.
and then he tamed down. I guess I haven't heard his fucking name in like 3 months now.
No,
4
he's
months.
still active. He's still all over
Is
the
he?
place. Yeah.
So I would call him
going back-
Malacca on the next door every freaking come. I go, "You're a Malacca, you're a Malacca, you're a Malacca." And so this
What's
guy ended
Malacca?
up.
Malacca's Greek word for.
So he's Greek.
Constantine
okay,
is Greek.
Constantine is
Oh
Greek.
yeah. That's
Okay.
not his name. Is not Anthony, by the way.
No, of course not.
His name is Regalias.
Yeah.
Constantine Regalias.
That would make
He
sense.
changed his name.
That would make sense.
He's a complete fraud.
So
and he's not. Nobody is literally nobody has seen his diagnosis for being quote unquote autistic.
Yeah, I call bullshit on that too. I call bullshit on that.
I think he's just a narcissist.
Right.
Who's
Yeah.
playing the game.
He's playing the game. They all are.
So Malacca is Greek for a hillbilly who wanks all day in the
Oh.
hills. So, but it could also mean
Okay.
different things.
Right,
Like what the
right.
Greeks would say, like, it could be a term of endearment, like,
Right.
"Hey, Malacca,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah,
doing?"
Yeah,
You know, or like you cut somebody off, "Hey, Malacca, what are you?" Like it's
like-
multi-different terms.
yeah.
But
So you're on next door saying that.
I was calling him a Malacca, like you're a fucking wanker.
Right,
Okay.
right,
To the
right.
point where I
You
get
wanker, you.
censored on this shit. And this guy, Amy Safarian, who lives in Rossmont,
Sorry, on. Yeah.
she's freaking, you don't know what you're talking about. The kindergartens don't read about gay sex and blowjobs and stuff. I go, really? I go, look at the books that they're fucking showing these
Yeah,
kids.
that's right.
So I go, you know what? This group is mental. I go, I don't want to know you guys. I'm fucking out. And I literally canceled my account and I'm done with Nextdoor. And they actually got back to me and said, why did you cancel? I'm like, because you gave the power to the people that don't deserve it in the
Well,
fucking
you just
neighborhood.
confirmed their business model. Then they're like, great.
Yeah,
you
they
got
don't
off.
need us.
So I refuse to get off. I'm constantly posting on Nextdoor.
Okay.
I engage.
Yeah.
I get kicked off every once in a while. I get back on. This is the thing. I don't care about any of that.
Right.
I don't care that the cards are stacked against me.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
Because that once you do and you give into that, you've literally affirmed everything they're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Exactly.
repress you.
So this is why I didn't
So-
like it. This is why I didn't like Nextdoor. Nextdoor started out with noble intentions. Hey, meet your neighbors.
No, it didn't.
Well, hold on, Jordan. In 2016 and 17, Nextdoor only had a 2-mile radius. 2-mile radius. You could not find out what's going on outside of your neighborhood. Okay,
Right.
You knew your neighbors. You knew garage sales. You knew, hey, any suspicious activity. It actually served a purpose. What did I notice next door doing? They expanded your neighborhood. Robbery in Atwater Village. What the fuck do I care about Atwater
I
Village?
get stuff from like Nebraska. On
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
I really do, yeah.
They're trying to become Facebook at this
Yeah.
point. They want to expand their networks, and everybody's a neighbor. It's a loose definition of the word.
Right.
You live in Costa Mesa, you're my neighbor.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. This is ridiculous. And then you give the power to freaking,
Anyone.
the COVIDites.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Oh
call
my
them the
God, let's
COVIDites.
not
The
start
ones that
with
got the
those
power
guys.
trips when they
Yeah.
would tell people to wear a mask when they walked in. These are the people that run Nextdoor's
Correct.
moderations. Why would I want to deal with this? I'm sorry, I don't want to deal with
Or
it.
the people that are extreme environmentalists
Yes.
who are literally the ones responsible for the fact that we're now facing 40% increases in our utility rates.
Yes.
Here in Glendale.
Not just Glendale either. It's all over LA.
So
Right,
let's
right.
talk about that. Brotman, the one-trick pony, gets in on the Grayson power plant, and then what has he done about it?
Well, he didn't do anything about it. I
Exactly.
mean,
He's too busy. He's too busy fighting parents.
all he's done is said no
Yeah.
to everything. And what he wants is complete solar or wind and battery backup. And they had a huge Tesla power pack that would have cost like $250 million or something.
Jesus Christ.
It's not the worst idea to have battery backups.
Yeah.
You know, fine, great, okay, that's one option. But you know, their original plan was, and I ran for city council, right?
Yeah.
Their original plan was to produce like 250 megawatts of power through these like very high efficiency natural gas generators. It would have been a revenue source for the city.
Yeah.
They passed that up, obviously, and they, you know, created the one with the Tesla power pack, and it was like a 96 megawatt plan. But just because it had these 5 highly efficient generators that could eventually been switched over to hydrogen, but in the meantime, for the launch, it would have been natural gas. And then they scrapped that because natural gas is involved. And now we have nothing.
Yeah.
And we have a 40% rate increase.
Yep.
They want us to use less energy.
Yep.
And they're just going to keep pushing on solar
Yeah.
on every new development, on every new structure. If you do an ADU, you have to have new solar, stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, the fact that they've done this is really offensive, you know, because their job is to provide a quality of life for their residents, a safe, dependable infrastructure.
Do you think Brotman's a good mayor?
No, I think he's
100% no.
I don't think he's a good person.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No,
I don't think so either. He is a little tyrant. I watch the city council meetings. He throws tantrums. He leaves.
Yeah.
He will not engage parents. He will not engage his constituents.
And he has like these coffee chats.
Yeah.
And he had one in my neighborhood, so I went. And it's like open to everyone. It literally says it.
Except
so
you.
I show up and I posted it on my Instagram. If anybody wants to go, I'm at Henry #4 Glendale on Instagram, and you can find it on there, the audio recording, because I recorded it all.
Yeah.
It was on the public right of way. I recorded it, and it's him literally saying, "No, you can't be here, Jordan. We're not willing to talk to you." But I go and sit down at the table because I'm like, no. You said we could all come.
Yeah.
Open to everyone.
What does that mean, Mayor Brotman?
Exactly.
What does that mean? And so, he refused to engage, and and then he denied like so many of the things that his party is doing to our school district, to our families, with the curriculum, and he's completely denied it. Like I said, you have to in Glendale Unified, you have to say that boys are girls and girls are boys if they choose that. And he said that's not the way it works. Nobody's said that. I'm like, Brotman, have you looked at the policy? Have you actually read it? No, it's literally a misdemeanor if you don't use words that you disagree with.
Right.
If you disagree, and you're actually sitting there saying that you don't even agree with the thing that you're actually endorsing.
Pushing,
So it's gaslighting. It's the exact same thing with critical race theory. The fact that they say it's not there, but they're pushing it. It's just offensive to people who have common sense. Who can just read a page.
So for so many years,
it comes down to, I think it just comes down to the community and the parents, everyone that's living in Glendale. In this specific case, they're just not informed, I think.
Well, it's changing. It's changing now.
It is changing with certain communities.
Because if they're informed, it's just common sense stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's not something that's like brain surgery.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but the problem is like once you get a government policy involved, as soon as that's established, even if you have Christians who disagree with it, Christians, it's in the Bible to follow and respect the government,
the law of the land,
exactly,
right.
So we all have to zoom out here and reassess what that means.
But not if it's against the laws of God, the laws of the Bible, because it also specifically states it in the Bible that you're supposed to follow the laws of the land, but it doesn't. The laws of the land do not supersede the Lord's.
Oh, I'm good.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Two's the limit.
Yeah.
Two's the limit.
Yeah, I'll start saying things way out of hand.
So what? My point is, if these people knew what was actually happening, they would 100% be more involved actively and make sure that what they're trying to push on the community, the kids, the school, would not be so easily attainable to them.
Yeah, but once it's a policy, people are very hesitant to push against that because it comes with all sorts of baggage. Like once you do that, you then are committing yourself to being a dissident.
Sure.
A public dissident. And it's not comfortable. It's not even comfortable for me.
Of course not.
And it seems very comfortable for me, but it's not. I have to like plan what I'm saying. I have to like psych myself up for it and get ready for the blowback.
But do you think it was fair for the city of Glendale's council to be involved in this fight with the school board? Now, you have one entity that's supposed to be nonpartisan, and they have problems with the parents. Why did Brotman feel the need to throw his hat in the ring?
He called parents vehicles of hate.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I saw that clip.
Yep.
Exactly. Why? Why? Why would you bring the city council into this?
You know what it is? I'm sure it has a little bit to do with what he's seen over the last few years in other school board meetings. The Department of Justice that has labeled parents domestic terrorists.
But Harry, the city council should not get involved in this matter.
Obviously.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, I agree.
But he did.
But okay, so it involved
But he's emboldened is what I'm trying to tell you.
GPD.
Yeah.
And for some reason, totalitarianism is very in vogue for the Democrats.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's towing the party line in a nonpartisan position. He does not serve the community. He serves the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And he came into it thinking that renewable energy is all that really mattered for Glendale, right?
He's a one-trick pony. That's exactly what it is.
But then he got in over his head, like every Democrat, who has to toe the party line, which it violates even their basic ethics. Look at Artie Kasakian. He disagrees with this stuff, but then he's willing to sit there and toe the line and say, well, you know, he makes excuses. He's an apologist, you know, and it's shocking to me that someone like him, who's smart, he's a respectful guy.
Yes, very nice.
He's a respectable guy. Yeah.
On top of that, personally, he's a very nice guy.
Artie, I've
known him for a long time.
I've known Artie a long time.
The party line.
Yes.
It's more than that. Artie and I share the same philosophy to a certain extent. You are rewarded as an American, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
Okay. So it's not one person's prerogative or job to tell you how to feel and all that stuff. So if you have people expressing their views and everything, that's their First Amendment right. Okay. When it spills over to other things and stuff, this is where I'm a little different because I'm libertarian. You know, I'm all for whatever makes you happy. Just don't throw your happy in my face and we got a problem because your happy is not my happy. And now I'm having an issue with that. But it's more of a political thing at that point. It's a very tough position that he's in, okay, because as an Armenian, okay, in the city council,
as an Armenian man,
he tried.
Same as Sean.
Yeah, he tried. Well, Sean's just a spineless wimp. I mean, he just sits there
what did Artie try to do? What did Artie try to do? He's
trying to reach out. He's trying to be the voice of reason between the parents and the city council. Look, you got to understand what Brotman did. I mean, he tried to do damage control for the city council. Okay, so you have two Armenians on the council. I'm not even going to count Ellen. She didn't even care for this. She already had her sights set on Portantino's seat.
Yeah, that's right.
But she got into Springboard.
Assembly, so it's
or the assembly, Freeman's seat. Sorry. But you got, on one side, you got Aura, okay, who is gung-ho on the parents' side, okay? And then you have
it's
Artie.
great that he's come out publicly
right,
about
and kudos to Aura for that.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit
for years, he had the Glendale Teachers Association endorsement.
Yeah, they just did in the last election.
Yeah,
which they rescinded.
They rescinded it, right? So
cowards and hacks.
Of course, that's exactly what they are. So Aura is there fighting for the parents' rights at the city council meetings, and Aura and Dan hate each other. We know this, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So and then there was actually a city council meeting. Aura left. He literally walked up and left.
I know.
He goes,
I saw that. Yeah.
I can't take this anymore. I'm out of here. You know, I started laughing when I saw that. But you have Aura on one side, staunch supporter of the parents. Then you have Dan Brotman, staunch supporter of the teachers union, calling the parents domestic terrorists and homophobes and transphobes. And then you have Artie on this side, who's trying to play the balance of both sides. But at this point, I think both sides are so heated, it's near impossible to play negotiator right now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a very tough position.
I love what you're trying to do for Artie here, but you know, he did call Mauro Yakubian hateful or anti-LGBT about the Gaulis event.
Yeah.
And, you know, he said these people have every right to do what they want to do privately. It's like, yeah, sure, Artie, okay. But they're spitting on your culture, your associates, your colleagues, your city clerk. Susie Abajian was there.
Yep.
Why, if you want to play neutral, there's a different way to do it than saying, oh, they're free to do whatever they want. I mean, this is a school board member, the previous school board president, sitting there with Gray James at the same table. Gray James, for anyone who doesn't know, is a trans man. His name is Jennifer. Her name is really Jennifer Heislip.
Yeah.
And she has infiltrated the schools. And I'm using that word very specifically because
it's appropriate.
With Terry Tiber, right?
It's very appropriate. They have
Tammy Tiber, but
Tammy
no. So Gray James came in and works with the GSA clubs, the Gender Sexuality Alliance clubs, and was brought in with Alicia Harris, who's a CV high school government teacher.
Okay.
And she runs these clubs, even though she shouldn't. They should be completely student ran. That is a federal requirement. But we have emails that are very clear that she is involved in planning and executing their events.
Yeah.
She brings in outside people like Gray James. Mm-hmm. Gray James produces art that's literally
porn.
Literally child porn.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. Of a boy masturbating.
Yeah.
And I brought that to city council.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't let me bring it into the school board.
I know. I saw that video.
Yeah, right.
That was awesome.
Right. I'm explaining this for the people who maybe haven't seen that.
Right.
And, Artie's never come out in support of the parents at all.
Yeah.
He's never criticized Gray James. He's appeared with Gray James. He's attended events with Gray James. But being neutral is not what he's doing. He's playing the apologist game.
Yes.
That's not a neutral game or one that's going to build bridges. Actually, it makes people even more enraged because he's being two-faced.
Well, I see where you're going with that. I kind of agree with it. I actually told him you got to be more assertive and pick a side at this point.
He could be neutral.
Yeah, or be neutral.
Truly
neutral. And not say anything. But I think, and I haven't talked to him about this whole Gallus event, knowing Artie, the timing of Morrow's city council rant, and I'm not disagreeing with her, the timing
I wouldn't
was
call it
terrible.
a rant, though.
Well,
Why was the timing terrible?
I wouldn't call it rent.
Artsakh got invaded.
Okay,
Oh,
brother.
well, yes.
Okay,
but
that time. And Artie was so committed, and invested in the whole Artsakh and Azerbaijan
I
thing.
honestly-
He just thought
listen,
the timing was off. I think that's what Artie was.
Listen, I like
That's what I
Artie.
think.
I've known Artie a long time too. I like him. He's a good guy. He's a nice guy, but he's wrong. He's way wrong on these issues.
I think that's an accurate read.
He's way wrong on these issues, and I don't think Morrow's timing was off at all. It happened during that time. When do you expect her to talk about it? Now, 4 months later, 3 months later?
I get it. It's just bad
has to
Do you
timing.
guys know what happened with her story, by the way?
No.
When she made those comments, she literally was making dinner
You're
that
kidding.
night. She saw the video on Instagram, dropped everything, and went and made the comments.
Are you
She didn't.
serious?
That was pure emotion.
Wow, Motto, good for you.
She is great.
Yeah,
She is
You know,
great.
she
That's
started.
awesome.
And then Ara defended his sister.
Of course, it's his sister.
You know, she started the Armenian Studies
Yeah.
at Blair High School in Pasadena.
She
It's-
did.
It's a full-on free curriculum
Morrow-
for
Great.
Armenian students that
Great.
can't afford to go to private school.
Morrow is the definition of. We have a word in Armenian.
She's
Hayaset.
amazing. I really like what
Hayaset.
she's
It
done.
means Armenian, love of Armenian.
Yeah.
She is a Hayaset. Okay, she really is, and what she does for educators and students and all that stuff, it's very, very impressive. But this whole situation, from my eyes, is a debacle. It's a debacle. I mean, you can make a movie about what happened this last year in Glendale. You got parents pissed off at the school board. You got brother and sister on the city council complaining to city council members about something that happened about an event about a gay group.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny?
You can't
I
write
wanna-
this shit in
You
Hollywood.
know what's hilarious? Why is Artie speaking up against it? He's another Armenian. He's talking to another Armenian. I mean, not to get all tribal or whatever, but you had Brotman there at that meeting, didn't you? He was sitting at the. Why didn't Brotman say anything about it? Why? Brotman
I think he did.
I think he just shut his mouth and let Artie
okay.
take the fall for
I
it.
have to watch it again, but I think Morrow was addressing Artie at that time.
No. Artie spoke back to
Yeah.
Morrow.
Because I
And
think
then,
Morrow-
No. Morrow was addressing the whole board.
Was she?
Yes. And then Artie was the one who took it upon himself to speak to her.
Yeah, he volunteered
Because
that.
the war started. Again, I don't know this for a fact, but I know the man. I think that's why he was already heated about this. His whole mentality is,
My
look, as
point is-
Armenians, we should not be worried about this
I
right
get
now.
it.
Our country is being lost.
I think even Morrow probably even was addressing Brahman because he's the mayor. But then at that point,
Everyone.
at that point, when Artie starts speaking, Brahman's like, great, I don't have to say anything now. And he just kicks back.
What I will say is this: is that the left, they are intentionally provoking people in order to create social chaos and division.
Oh, 100%.
But that we are talking about that.
Yeah.
That division between Artie and Morrow is
Yeah.
exactly
What they want, yep.
That's exactly what they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
They want Antifa to show up to school board meetings so
Yeah.
they can provoke a reaction from normal people who are just fed up and they're willing to throw down.
Yeah.
I don't support that.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
disagree with it. If you go and play the tape, you'll hear me on the megaphone. Don't fight, like you were saying.
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah, and everyone blames me for it. I'm like, no. Look at George Pudlow.
Yeah.
Do you know who George Pudlow is? That's maybe a girl
Yeah,
running,
yeah,
that
running
guy.
for
Yeah.
U.S.
That
House.
thing.
He's
That-
running against
that
Alex, by the
person.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that person.
He is the one who invited Antifa.
That's right.
And this is their playbook.
That's right.
Provoke until you get the reaction that
And
you
play the
want.
victim.
And that is their goal.
Yeah.
And then that creates the narrative for them to perpetuate
That's right.
more provocation, more justification for these radical politicizations of our supposedly neutral government institutions.
Yeah.
That is it.
And that's the main problem is that our government institutions are supposed to be neutral, but they're not.
Absolutely not. And I intend to be.
You know-
I would love to be on the school board and represent people who adamantly disagree with me.
Right.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point
Yeah.
of politics.
Right.
Yeah. And coming to terms with them so we're all happy. If you have a trans 5-year-old in the public schools,
Yeah.
you have every right to be a trans 5-year-old in
Of
the public
course.
schools. But the other kids have every right to say, actually, no, you're still a boy, and I'm still going to call you
Exactly.
Steve.
I kind of disagree with that. I don't think there is a trans 5-year-old. 5-year-old's not smart enough to know if he's a trans or not.
I personally agree with you.
Yeah.
I personally agree with you.
They're too young to know anything.
Correct.
You blame the parents.
But you
Yeah.
could say the exact same thing about like a Christian 5-year-old.
Okay, great.
Did they choose?
They didn't
that?
choose to be Christian. No, I
Right,
agree. I agree with you on that too.
Exactly.
Again, you blame the parents.
But as soon as that 5-year-old's disposition affects the fundamental rights
Of every other
of
kid.
every other person,
Yeah, yeah.
we have a huge
Huge problem.
issue.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
that's really the crux of
And
this.
that exactly goes back to my point of libertarianism. Whatever makes you happy, I'm okay with that. Just don't shove it down my fucking throat. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's just the way
Yeah.
it is.
I mean,
That's not how America is. That's not how what made America great. Okay? We're all there looking for our pursuit of happiness. That's all it is. Now, if I ever decide to run for office, I'm a libertarian, registered libertarian. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. However, I'm pro-gun, pro-choice. And Harry hates when I say this, but I am. Okay?
Why do I
am.
hate it? I don't hate that.
Because you're pro-life and you always give me shit for it.
I don't give you shit.
I would
I
love to talk about that. No,
listen,
just
listen. I'm pro-life as far as me personally. I mean, I respect the laws of the land, like the biblical. We were just talking about the Bible earlier.
Okay.
Like, if you choose, I'll give you. But I mean, I'm pro-life to a point as far as policy. I don't think you should be able to have an abortion as soon as a heartbeat is detectable.
Well, okay. I'm not going to get into this argument because it's going to take an hour-long
But
argument.
that's what I'm saying.
We could get into that, but
That's
it's really,
a whole different thing.
I understand,
it's an
but I
aside.
mean,
but we
you're
could
saying-
talk about how wellness centers in Glendale Unified are working with Planned Parenthood.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go. There you go.
We absolutely could talk
but
about
what-
that.
Sanger's
but you're saying like,
extermination clinic.
You know, I hate when you said it. I don't hate
Well,
when
you're
you
pro,
say
if you're
that. I mean,
pro-choice,
I'm good
then
with it.
you're inherently supporting the government funding Planned Parenthood.
To a
correct?
certain extent, yes.
See,
To
that's
a
where
certain
I would have a
extent.
problem
but
with you.
this is where I have...
or are you just like for complete privatization
No,
of
I'm
abortion
for-
clinics?
Well, if you were, I would
Guys.
be more. on your side if you have
without government influence. So no wellness centers.
Again, it goes back to my libertarian beliefs. It's every person's right to choose what they want to do in their lives or with their bodies.
Okay, even kill their baby in their third trimester?
The government has no business telling you what to do and how to live your life. That's the way I live.
But you're basing that all on our foundational documents that say we all have the right to pursue
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness,
right? So,
yes.
So where's the child's right?
Where's
to
there?
life?
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
Okay.
I understand your
third
point.
trimester.
I understand your point. This goes back to is an embryo a child or is a heartbeat a child? That's the biological question.
Okay, then if a brain
has not been developed, a spine has not been developed.
If a pregnant lady gets murdered, why is the killer charged with a double homicide?
Okay, again, Harry, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on this.
This is just common sense stuff.
Right.
It's not common sense.
Let's go back.
What if the woman was raped by her brother? By your law, she should have that baby to term. What if she was raped by a criminal?
I didn't say that. I said when there's a detectable heartbeat.
Okay, so that detectable heartbeat of an incestual rape.
The mother has the right to. But let's just get back to Glendale University.
We're getting off track.
That's why I didn't want to get into that.
No, but it's such an interesting and endless debate.
Of course.
Because the technology has allowed us, first of all, to intervene in the life.
Yes.
Second of all, to even assess when life could even possibly begin or not.
Yes.
None of this was a factor at the time of the founding of the country when they wrote that. And now we just have to deal with the fallout of technology, and that applies to so many things, like with AI and the internet itself, surveillance, free speech.
Right.
All this is impacted directly by technology.
Yes.
And we now live in an era where technology is so rapidly accelerating that the laws are just never going to keep up, until it's...
Basil, I'm just curious, though.
Yeah.
Do you follow Hillary Clinton's logic to you can...
Probably
have
not.
An abortion. You can have an abortion all the way up to the ninth month.
I don't follow that.
No, I'm asking Basil. I know you don't.
Okay.
I know you don't.
Absolutely not. First trimester or less.
Okay, all right.
That's bullshit.
As a libertarian,
once a body is formed, the fetus is formed. I'm sorry, dude. All bets are off. You're carrying that baby till he gets delivered.
That's all I'm saying.
That's it.
Then I guess we agree.
No, you said at heartbeat.
A detectable heartbeat.
At conception.
No, that's not conception.
Is
that, like 6 weeks?
That's about 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
That's not conception. That's not conception.
Biologically, that is not a fetus yet.
What I would love to see is a cultural change where the conversation is no longer focused on what is legally passable or legal, but instead what is appropriate, like culturally. We should never, like, abortion should be the absolute last resort in horrific circumstances.
Yes.
Well,
but
nowadays it's used as birth control.
But what I'm saying is, if that's the problem, that is the problem. So I'm saying for certain situations, it's up to the woman to decide, if they want to remove it's their child. Like, look.
What about the man? Does he have any choice in this?
For what?
What do you mean for what?
He's not carrying the kid.
Who cares? He's the dad.
No.
That's not true.
Okay.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. My wife was required to get the booster.
Yeah.
While pregnant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It violates our personal religious beliefs,
of course.
right? But I had to. My wife wanted to continue to work, and she was willing to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I laid down the law. I was like, "No, you're not doing this. This violates everything. This
my
is
body, my choice. Religious exemption, right?
Right, but my wife only made that choice begrudgingly because it was my child in her. And I said, no, this is my child too. Like, we get 50-50 say in this.
Absolutely.
And if you do this changes everything in our relationship.
Yeah.
Everything. And like, I made it very clear, but it's my child too. And if she chose to abort that baby, I'd be like,
his child
hell
too.
no, you are getting...
Jordan, you're married.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter at that point.
It matters.
It's still your seed. It's absolutely not. It's part of you.
I would have said that as a teenager if I knocked up some girl.
I get it. Okay, I get it.
Are you kidding me right now?
I get it. But I'm telling you right now.
Freaking got AOC sitting here.
What are you talking about, dude? Like, I'm saying in extreme circumstances of incestual rape or in all this stuff. Okay, how about this one? A lot of people cannot handle children that are Down syndrome. And a doctor can find out within 5 weeks. Or
No, it's not 5 weeks.
Or what is it? 3 months?
The anatomy scan or the genetic.
They do the scan in 3-4 months.
Yeah. Second trimester.
No, it's not second trimester.
3-4 months is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
4 months.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Second trimester.
So you're going to tell me, okay, that if you have a child or your wife and everything, you're going to have a child with Down syndrome. He might not be able to talk. He might not be able to function. Are you ready to live the rest of your life?
That life is precious too.
A lot of people. Okay, you know what? Then you adopt a child with Down syndrome because a lot of people were born with your beliefs and they can't be taken care of anymore.
Why would I mean, why doesn't the parent? Just
what I'm saying is,
why
it's
do I have
not
to
that,
adopt him?
dude. What I'm saying is, what if parents can't take care of that kid? That kid's quality of life is going to be shit.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because
Seriously, how do
most
you know
people
that?
can't be parents, number one, to a healthy child.
I understand
let alone
that.
to a child with
I'm
Down
not
syndrome.
saying parents are going to be great for every kid, but it's not up to you or me.
You're basing your point on a theological point of view, and I get that because every
it's
life
not
is
really
precious.
I didn't even bring the Bible into this. I didn't even say it one time.
There's life at a heartbeat.
Yes.
There's science that says that there is no life at a heartbeat.
No. There's science. The science says the exact opposite.
how would there be no life at a heartbeat?
That's the exact opposite of what you're saying right now.
Is there consciousness with a heartbeat?
No, but there's life. Life begins at the heartbeat.
Is there consciousness at a heartbeat?
To some extent, yes.
Is there a soul at the heartbeat?
They feel pain. If you when those
A heartbeat feels pain.
when that baby gets aborted, it feels
It's not a baby yet.
Once the spinal column is.
Thank you.
Well, that's at
which
the
is the
heartbeat.
second
But
trimester.
this is the technology that I was just referencing,
Right.
you know, and we.
That's where I wanted to go with this. Thank you, Jordan. Once you start getting
He's
the spinal
actually
column,
making my
no,
point.
you're not. No, you're not. You're saying you
He's
can't
actually
abort a child
making
with a
my
heartbeat.
point.
You're saying you can't abort a child with a heartbeat. I'm saying that's not
It
a
is
child.
life.
That's not a human. It may be life, but it's not a human being yet.
It is a human being.
Oh, come on.
Let me ask you something.
Let me
ask you something. Bill Burr said it best. This is hilarious. If I was making a cake, and I put it in the pan, and I had it all ready to go, and I put it in the oven, and I just turned it on, and it was 2 minutes into it, and you came in, and you just fucking took that thing out of the oven and tossed it out. You'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing? I was making a cake." Are you going to try to tell me that wasn't a cake yet? It was going to be a cake.
Well, your microphone's over there for a second.
Or if it was the mom that made the cake for the child's birthday,
It doesn't matter.
and then the mom came in and said, "You know what? I'm not making this anymore. I'm throwing it out."
Right.
And the child no longer had.
We
the
all
birthday
know that
cake.
was going to be a cake. That was still going to be a cake.
Let's go. Okay, this is the conundrum of freedom because you now have one life dependent on another's freedom, the mother's freedom, right?
Yeah.
Now we have a conundrum of freedom in the schools about speech.
I'll even make the argument that fetus is not a born citizen yet and is not guaranteed the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
That's completely different. Now you're off your rails. Now you're off the rails.
Yeah. We're not going to solve this one tonight.
No. It's just
But
that's
the
just
school
interesting
issues we
conversation.
can solve. The
But
school issues we can talk about.
But this is what I was getting to. As a libertarian, if I run for Glendale City Council, given the political climate of this city right now, I don't think I have a chance to win.
You should run.
But I don't think I have a chance to win.
Okay, well, you're definitely not going to have a chance if you don't run.
Well, 100%. But a libertarian, okay, even though I side with certain liberal viewpoints, okay, and conservative viewpoints, by the way, because I'm a fucking gun advocate. I believe in law enforcement. I believe in incarceration. I'm tough on crime.
As a libertarian, you believe in state-sanctioned violence?
No. Why would I?
That's policing.
Policing.
Come on.
That's policing.
Come on.
That's policing.
Yeah, you know what? You know what deters that? The Miranda rights, guys. Come on.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay.
So you're not
We should have privatized policing then,
an
right?
across the board libertarian.
Let me tell you something. Privatized policing actually worked. Privatized policing actually worked in San Francisco in the 80s. Privatized police shops would actually hire privatized police forces to protect the neighborhoods. They
the
actually did a
abolition-
better job than San Francisco PD.
A libertarian would have to support abolishing police, right?
No.
And privatize it. You wouldn't want the government to be enforcing that, right?
Well, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good.
I love libertarians. I love libertarians.
Look, we're a zany group of people. We're walking contradictions, let me tell you, okay?
Yeah.
A government's
I used to
job,
be libertarian. I used to be pretty libertarian.
a government's job,
No longer, though.
a government's job
I
is
don't
to
even
protect-
classify myself as a Republican. I'm a conservative.
Okay, a government's job, in my eyes, is to protect us from bombs falling on our fucking country. That's it, and leave us the fuck alone. The problem is our civil rights have been eroded slowly fucking after 9/11. Okay, and that Patriot Act was the worst thing that could happen to American citizens.
And Republicans loved it.
And Republicans loved it.
And Democrats.
Okay.
Yes.
How many terrorists?
The Uniparty
celebrated it. Okay, how many freaking terrorists has the Patriot Act caught?
I wouldn't know.
0. How many citizens has it arrested? Thousands. It was designed to be used against the American people.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that's all it was.
Yeah.
So I cannot sit back and say state-sponsored policing. Yes, I agree with you. It's bad. If it goes rogue, it's bad. But here's the other thing.
Well, they have to serve the political officials. So right now they're serving Brahman and the city council and whatever their agenda is.
Correct, because it's in the charter and it's in their constitution and it's in their things. However, as a libertarian, I don't need to listen to them.
Okay.
I have the right to revolt. The question is, who's going to revolt with me? No one.
Right. I mean, we're technically leading like a parent revolt right now where people are, pulling their kids out or they're not sending their kids on certain days. And they're exercising their civil disobedience. They're exercising their free speech at great cost.
Yeah.
And that really is what I'm running on, is the preservation of those fundamental rights, freedom of speech, being able to go into a government institution, speak your mind freely, and expecting to be treated equally in response. The schools have specifically endorsed and implemented policies that take that right away.
Yeah.
We had 2 students suspended because they didn't use proper pronouns of some teacher.
Which is horseshit.
Of course it is. It's totalitarianism. Those students have the right to not use pronouns.
If I was a student in this political climate right now at school, I'd probably be suspended.
You'd definitely be suspended.
And my parents would probably be sued.
And it would be on your private record forever.
By the way, someone tried to hack my Facebook right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Facebook sent me a recovery code saying that was you.
Someone's watching, huh?
I don't know.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine me going to well, your SAT scores are superb. You have a lot of community service work, but you were suspended out of elementary school. What happened there? I called a dude a girl. That's exactly what's happening at this point. You can have an immaculate academic record. You get suspended.
No, I called a dude.
A dude. Yeah.
That's what it would be.
Right here, where you received a request to reset your Facebook.
But that would never happen if you actually, you saw a boy.
Yeah.
And it was a boy, and they identified as a boy, and they said, "I'm a boy." But if you then kept on calling them a girl, would the same effect be laid down on you?
Of course not.
No, of course not. Yeah, it's only one way.
It's only one way. It's like, look, I see trannies. Can we call them trannies anymore?
No, you can't. We may
now we call it
politically incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know. We may have to. I don't know. We're gonna have to bleep that. So
what? Transgenders?
Yeah,
that's what you just said. Transgenders now. Yeah. All right.
Well, we don't want our show taken down like last time.
Marginalized communities.
Yes.
I see transgenders all the time. I'm okay with them. Let them live their lives if they're free, if they're happy, and all this stuff. Just don't tell me what you want me to tell you. Like I don't get that. I see these. They throw it in people's faces, and that pisses me off.
But it's the government doing
Don't
this.
assume my gender, dude. And literally, I'll sit there and say, "Dude, why would you assume I'm a man?" Well, you got an Adam's apple, bigger than California.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's funny you would say that. I think maybe my status is the reason that this happened, because this is what I put as my. That's what I put as my status.
What is it?
Jordan can read it.
Any guy that has a he/him in his profile is a she/her.
So I think maybe someone that got pissed off that they reported me, or they tried to hack into my account. That's why.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Jordan, we're keeping you a long time tonight.
That was great.
Yeah,
you guys want to talk about the cyber attack?
Yes, let's talk about the cyber attack real quick.
Before we close up.
What happened exactly with Glendale Unified's data?
I don't know exactly what happened.
Nothing.
A lot happened.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what happened.
You mean you weren't there?
Glendale hasn't divulged it. What we do know is that there was a group called, I believe, Medusa.
It's a Russian hacker group, right?
It's some
international group.
Who knows? We really don't know much.
Yeah.
But they have been working on it for months.
Yeah.
They've been slowly infiltrating the database and encrypting every file on their own private servers.
Underneath the nose of GUSD.
Exactly.
And why did this happen?
I mean, GUSD didn't have their eye on the ball.
I think-
I've heard that there were IT or cybersecurity measures that were not fully funded.
They were cut back.
Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't seen it myself. I haven't had the time. I'm too busy campaigning.
If somebody can prove that funding was cut, that shows malcontent.
I've
That shows
looked through the
incompetence.
budgets. But I haven't found the line items yet, and I just haven't had time to do it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you find that, Jordan, let me know. I got 50 attorneys ready.
But IBM put out a statement about this specific group.
IBM is still around?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe not after last week.
Yeah. IBM still stands for it's been a mistake.
But they put out a statement. This is a few years ago, saying that like the average ransomware cost for this type of hack is like $4.3 million.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they target schools like this.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to come straight out of our insurance policy. It's going to go through that, and then our insurance is going to go up.
But the damage has already been done.
Oh, and then everybody's privacy has been compromised.
Everybody's privacy's been compromised.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me about this.
Yeah.
We're talking tort cases here. This is not gonna end well for GUSD. I honestly think people are gonna set up lawsuits.
I hope they do. I mean, they deserve for how digitized GUSD has required every student to become. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about their Chromebooks, their curriculum, their little chat, the chat software that they use to communicate with fellow class members, parents, teachers, the administration, social emotional learning, because all of that every student has a profile on their social emotional learning database, whether it's through Panorama or Castle. Those are the two programs that they've been using. Those are all digitized profiles that are now compromised, and we're talking about private information about students and how they feel in class, how they react with other students, how they react with interact with the teachers, how they feel accepted or not, or their grades, every email communication, everything you can possibly imagine is there. And this is just an argument that we really shouldn't be depending so much on digital communication, Chromebooks. I mean, why do we have these kids constantly on these laptops?
Because of COVID.
How does that teach? Yeah, well,
they pushed all the laptops during COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. They wanted everybody to be remote learning and all this stuff.
They pushed all this new curriculum during COVID.
That's right.
Yep.
They pushed all these policies prior to COVID, but they implemented them. They actually executed them during COVID. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was all planned. I mean, we can all sit here and talk about COVID and the response and everything, and that's a different conversation altogether.
Yeah,
but I'm 3 beers in
right now.
I'm
Let's not get into that right now. So, all right. Well, I think we're gonna close it out right now.
Yeah. So if you guys are listening to this, please
watching and listening,
please donate your time, your money, your energy, your
right
your
around
words,
the corner, guys.
your social media. Get out there, sign up, go to my website at henry4glendale.com. Go support Anita Karpekian over in District E. She really needs help. We both do. We're working against the machine.
Right.
And we have a lot of doors to knock on. A lot. And we can get you guys hooked up. We have a digital database for doors that need to be knocked on. And we just have hours and hours and hours to do. I've calculated it. It's something like 950 cumulative hours that we need to spend knocking on doors.
How many houses do you got to go to in your district?
I have to knock on minimum 10,000.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Minimum.
Crazy.
Minimum.
And your district is all uphill.
Yeah.
It's all hills.
Well, you can start you can start from the top and walk down.
That's my exercise right now. No, it doesn't work like that.
By the way, Bays.
Yeah.
March 5th. It says it right there.
Yeah, March 5th.
March 5th.
Vote March 5th.
What March
That's right.
5th?
Is the city council election on March 5th?
Yes.
too?
Correct.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting.
So-
Artie's up and Ellen's seat's up.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Ellen's seat is not up.
It's vacant.
No, it's not. No,
she has to run. She has to vacate it.
she doesn't. She can keep her seat.
Okay.
If she wins, then it'll be vacated and there will be a special election, I believe. But Paula
Oh, yeah,
Devine's
that's right.
seat is up.
Paula's seat's up, and Paula's checking out. She's a sweet woman.
Yeah, but she just endorsed Telly C.
I know. But
She's confused.
Yeah.
But she's dangerous. People like that are dangerous. because she means well.
She hasn't been the same since her husband died.
Sure, okay.
You know.
Maybe he was running the show.
Yeah.
But she endorsed someone who is actively undermining her constituents' fundamental rights.
Yeah.
And then blaming it on the parents.
Yeah.
So, good luck, Paula.
Anyway, guys,
I'm glad you're not running again because it wouldn't work well for you.
Exactly.
All right, guys, make sure to follow Jordan on social media. He's on Instagram, I believe, at Jordan Henry, right?
Henry for Glendale.
Henry for Glendale, and then henryforglendale.com. We gotta support these guys. We gotta support Jordan. We gotta support Anita. Get good people into the school board, and this is important. It's important for your kids, for all our kids. I don't have kids, but your kids. Anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight. Share the podcast. This podcast will be up tomorrow on YouTube. The replay will be on there, and we'll see you next year at this point. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We always say Merry Christmas. We don't say Happy Holidays here. So and next month, with the new year, we'll have another guest on, and we'll have another show. And we've got a few guests lined up that I think you guys will like. So keep tuning in. We appreciate the support, and we appreciate you guys helping us grow. And we will catch you next year. Thank you, guys. The bar is now closed.
Last call.
I'll get that beer.